Welcome back to San Diego. Jim Lampley and Bob Golick with you as we get ready to get the season underway for the Chargers and the Seahawks. And here's the challenge facing Seattle and Dennis Erickson. Over the course of the past 5 seasons, they have not been able to win games against their divisional opponents. So last year's 8-8 record would look a lot better if the Seahawks can prove to themselves that they can beat a team like the Chargers on the road.
Exactly. Like we said, they made a nice run, 6 of 8 wins to get into almost get into the playoffs at the end of the season. But the reality is, you got to start beating some divisional opponents if you want to make that run to playoffs a little easier.
It's something Bobby Ross has been able to do in his 4 previous years as head coach of the Chargers. Chargers have won the division under Ross, gone to the Super Bowl under Ross. They want to continue proving themselves a part of the elite in the NFL. Todd Peterson to kick it away. Andre Coleman. And you see the graphic that shows 2 kick and 1 punt return touchdowns a year ago. Peterson's kick is high, relatively short. Coleman at the 12. Skids to a stop just across the 25 at about the 26-yard line. And so San Diego quarterback Stan Humphries, wearing number 22 on his helmet to commemorate the now departed Rodney Culver, Charger running back who died in the Value Jet crash this past May, comes onto the field to lead his offense. Harry Swain still starting at left tackle. Tony Berti is starting at left guard in place of the injured Eric Moten today. Courtney Hall coming off a scope. They hope he's ready to go. Leonard Russell has, for the moment, beaten out Aaron Hayden for the starting running back job, and Hayden was the man who was supposed to inherit those chores from Natron Means. On first down, Humphries' pass is incomplete, intended for Tony Martin, who a year ago on this field had 13 catches for 163 yards against the Seattle Seahawks. And let's take a look at the Hawks' defense. It's become a cliche to say that this defensive line will go as far as Sam Adams takes it, but the pressure is still on the young defensive tackle to provide the proper complement to the outstanding Cortez Kennedy. The back 7, they're a little thin at linebacker today. Terry Wooden unable to start at strong side linebacker. Michael Barber moves into the starting lineup in his place. Terrell Fletcher on the field as second down and 10 arrives for the Chargers, and Fletcher breaks out of there across the 35, close to the 40, a 14-yard gain for the second-year running back out of Wisconsin, and a first down for San Diego.
Well, one of the things you see right off the bat, you're seeing some motion by the San Diego Charger offense. As the motion kind of changes the strength of the formation, you see, well, we missed it already, the defensive line of the Seahawks had already shifted, kind of causing a little bit of a gap over there to the left side of the offensive line.
Open that hole up, baby.
Good blocking on that side by Tony Berti. And Shannon Mitchell, number 89, out of the H-back position. First down, Humphries throws, complete to Tony Martin. Martin in front of Carlton Gray has first down yardage for the Chargers as they move across midfield into Seattle territory.
Great play action up front. It was kind of a counter tray OT action up front, giving the quarterback a little bit more opportunity, some time. But Martin really pushed Carlton Gray off. Gray looking to really take away that deep threat, gave just a little bit too much cushion.
Martin with a tremendous record of success against the Seahawks. We told you about the 13 catches last year. The year before that, a 99-yard touchdown catch in Husky Stadium in Seattle. First down to give us to number 42, Leonard Russell. And Russell, a career 3.5-yard per carry guy who, as of this moment, starts ahead of Aaron Hayden. Has a couple before Michael Barber, number 54, meets him, along with Corey Harris.
Oh, that was all on the Seattle Seahawks defense. They ran a counter tray OT, the backside guard and tackle pulling around the lead blocking. Great penetration on the play side with Winston Moss and also Antonio Edwards. And watch Cortez Kennedy. Here's a guy, look at him. He just takes both of the pulling offensive linemen. Doesn't stop them in their tracks, but slows them enough where the outside defenders can get up and cut off the attack route of the running back.
Second down, 10 to go. They rule no gain. Terrell Fletcher back on the field for San Diego. And Fletcher with the football. This time, Cortez Kennedy and company are there to read and meet the play. Sam Adams also getting a piece of the tackle, and it'll be third down long for San Diego.
And Cortez just fired up. He gave up that ball so fast. If it was a pass, he would have had a sack, but unfortunately, that's what the Chargers had planned. Gave it a draw, and thank goodness for them. Antonio Edwards sitting back to make the play on the draw.
3 wide receivers on the field for San Diego. That brings rookie Charlie Jones out of Fresno State on, number 17. He had some deep plays in preseason. The throw intended for Coleman, and the play is made by Corey Harris, the former running back who was converted to a corner at Green Bay and has come into his own in Seattle.
Corey did a nice job of just kind of biding his time in the middle, sitting there waiting. The receiver just kind of sneaking out, trying to be the safety valve, dropping off the middle. Harris timed it up perfectly to make a great shot.
Number 2, Darren Bennett to kick it away for the Chargers. The man from down under had a tremendous rookie year. He's kicking to the extremely dangerous number 84, Joey Galloway. Galloway had 2 touchdown plays over 80 yards last year. Bennett just gets it away in front of the rush, and Galloway with room takes it as his 15, gets across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. 34-yard high punt by Bennett and an 8-yard return by Galloway. Meyer and the Seahawks will have it when we come back. Sellout crowd in San Diego. Chargers looking to go into the postseason for a 4th time in 5 years under Bobby Ross. Junior Seau had a tremendous preseason according to the Charger coaches, and as enthusiastic as ever as he begins his 7th season out of Southern Cal.
Now, one of the guys that, I don't want to say resented Junior, but I'm sure would have loved to have had a little bit more notoriety, as in Leslie O'Neal, kind of didn't like to share the spotlight with Junior. Well, now he doesn't have to.
That's right. Leslie's in St. Louis. On first down, Meyer and the Hawks. And the throw is low to Carlester Crumpler. He's unable to hold on. Tight end droppage. 2nd down 10 for the Seahawks. Quick look at Meyer's offense with more talent than ever before this year, at least on paper. Offensive line has to start a rookie. Pete Kendall, the number 1 draft choice, will be going against Reuben Davis of the Chargers head-to-head today. Derek Graham is also an addition this year. We haven't even mentioned the great Chris Warren, one of the 3 top runners in football. Tremendous 4.5-yard per carry guy for the Seahawks. Galloway and Blades, a great set of wide receivers, and they got good backups behind them in Mike Pritchard and Ricky Proehl. On 2nd down, Chris Mims making the play from his defensive end position for the Chargers. Flag down, first one of the game.
Well, both Chris Gims and Kurt Govea take a nice job of staying at home.
Offside, number 29, defense, lined up in the neutral zone.
Terrence Shaw, the cornerback, lined up in the neutral zone.
I'll tell you what, there's a defensive lineman and a linebacker, and Chris Mims and Kurt Govea right now are going, you're going to take the tackle off of my stats because a defensive back was offsides. This ain't fair. They'll have a talk later after the game.
Terrence Shaw trying to get a good eye-to-eye look at Joey Galloway, lined up in the neutral zone. So make it 2nd down 5 instead of 3rd and 10 for the Seahawks. And Meyer gives to Chris Warren. Warren is met by Lou Bush, number 58. And it will be 3rd down now as we take a look at the Charger defense. Headed, as we've already told you, by Seau. Up front, Leslie O'Neal gone. Marco Coleman arrives from the Dolphins to take O'Neal's place. The rest of the front 4 remains the same. Govea is the big addition at inside linebacker. Seau says Govea is a tremendous tackler who will make a big difference against the running game. Chargers are deeper than ever at corner, where former number 1 draft choice Darian Gordon is functioning as a backup. But they have their 3rd new set of safeties in 3 years. 3rd down and 3 for the Seahawks. Meyer looking to throw, has room to get the first down, has it and more across midfield. And finally goes to the sideline and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Former Seahawk Dwayne Harper makes the stop after a 33-yard run by Rick Meyer.
And Jim, this is kind of what we talked about. Last year with the new offense for Rick, he was a little bit antsy. His feet were never really set. But watch him here. He gets back, takes a little short 3-step drop, reads the progressions, doesn't see his guys. They say the big change here is that when there is no receiver open, he makes a decision much quicker on what to do, whether to eat it, throw away, or here, look for some yardage.
Used his athletic talent there. In his 4th year out of Notre Dame, Meyer was extremely confident. His discussion with us yesterday. 1st down 10. Warren hit at the line of scrimmage, fumbles the ball. Seahawks trying to fall on it. And it looks as though center Kevin Mawai, 3rd-year player out of Louisiana State, moving over from guard to center this year, is the man who got on top of it to preserve possession for Seattle.
Well, Jim, I'll tell you what, and I don't know if you've noticed this, the first couple run plays that they've had there, they've tried to run behind Pete Kendall, maybe trying to set a little bit of a stage. Put Kendall on the hot seat, see how he responds, and right there, when you're lining up against Reuben Davis and Sean Lee on the inside, I don't know if that's a test you want to put the rook to right away.
You saw Marco Coleman punching the ball loose. Coleman, 5th year out of Georgia Tech, played for Bobby Ross at Georgia Tech and said that familiarity had plenty to do with his decision to come here. 6-yard loss, 2nd down, 16. Pass is complete to Carlester Crumpler for a short gain. Might have gotten back to the original line of scrimmage. Kevin Ross, the brand new free safety for the Chargers, making the stop.
Well, like you said, for the 3rd year in a row, they've got a new pair of safeties. Last year, Bo Orlando, Sean Gale were the guys that came in. Now they feel with Rodney Harrison and Kevin Ross, even though Kevin's as old as I am, okay, maybe a couple years younger, they feel that he is a ball hawk. He will get around, and he's got much better coverage skills.
I think he might be as old as you are.
I think you're mean, man. But he's still playing.
3rd down, 10. Blades in motion. Triple set at the top of the screen. Meyer has to check off to Warren. Warren's knocked out of bounds by Chris Mims, and Terrence Shaw well short of the 1st down. It'll be 4th down and a punting situation for the Seahawks.
Well, the coaches told us, and Rick Meyer told us that he's more confident with his progression of reads, going from one guy to the next and making a decision whether to throw or not. Well, I'm sorry, but Brian Blades was wide open over the middle of the field in 1st down range when he chose not to throw to the middle, and he chose to throw to the sidelines to make it 4th down.
Darian Gordon, number 21, waits at the 10-yard line. Snapping the football is Jason Kyle, who has never before snapped in an NFL game. Good snap, excellent kick. And they failed to down it outside the end zone. It's going to be a touchback, and the football will come out to the 20-yard line for the Chargers. So Rick Tootin gave his coverage guys a chance to down it outside the end zone, and they could not get it done. We're back in San Diego, where today the MetLife blimp Snoopy 2 has teamed up with NBC Sports to provide an aerial view of San Diego. MetLife blimp does not require a home base and is constantly on the road, logging over 60,000 miles a year. Sounds familiar?
Man, that's a lot of fast food.
A lot of people in our business who are just like that. Don't require a home base, constantly on the road, logging more than 60,000 miles a year.
So what do they do? Just like lower it down to that drive-through window?
I think that's probably the overall picture.
I guess you can tell where I eat.
Now we're both standing up, and you get a more realistic perspective on the size differential between Golic and Lampley. Thank you very much for
buddy.
The paternal affection that Bob offers me. I appreciate it. 1st down from the 20-yard line, 2nd possession of the game for the San Diego Chargers. First one ended in a punt. And Terrell Fletcher back in the football game at tailback. Fletcher breaks it back toward the middle of the field and picks up about 8 before Cortez Kennedy drags him down from behind.
Well, you can't fault the Seahawks defense for the way they played. What you can fault them with is not being able to tackle. Fletcher basically was hemmed in. Was hit a couple of times by defenders, bounced through it, kept the legs going, and got the yardage.
And we mentioned that the Chargers may be making a statement to Aaron Hayden, the 2nd-year running back out of Tennessee, by starting Leonard Russell ahead of him. Now they go to Fletcher. Hayden hadn't seen daylight yet, and Terrell Fletcher's off to a good start in the football game.
And
Flags down.
Leonard Russell didn't think that it was a statement. He thought it was just his job.
Yep, that's right. Well, Leonard's a pro.
Well, you know, Aaron Hayden steps in last year, takes over the last 6 games of the season, as the San Diego Chargers do very, very well.
Ball starts. Number 72, offense. 5-yard penalty.
10-year veteran Harry Swain, longtime Charger left tackle, with the offside encroachment there. So that marks off 5 of the 9 yards that Fletcher gained on 1st down. Incidentally, you've probably heard of Hayden as Aaron Hayden in the past. He tells us this week he wants it to be pronounced Aaron Hayden.
Aaron.
Not Aaron. And you know, we went through this for years with Natron means.
Natron.
Is it Natrone? Is it Natron? Et cetera, et cetera. So now Hayden's got to do it to us, too. Flip over the middle. The number 89, Shannon Mitchell. And Humphrey's pass pass, gains 13 yards, and picks up a first down for San Diego. We'll bring you back here after this visit to Greg Gumbel in New York.
All right, Jim, in Miami, the Dolphins took the lead before Dan Marino ever took the field. Drew Bledsoe throws, picked off by Lewis Oliver, who will ramble down the sideline and will get to within viewing area of pay dirt before he loses the football. Sean Hill is there to pick it up and complete the 70-yard play with the extra point. 7-0 Dolphins in the first, Jim.
Moves to an open area of the field over the head of Alfred Papunu. So it'll be 2nd down 10. San Diego at the 37-yard line after the 13-yard flip from Humphreys to Shannon Mitchell.
And this, I tell you what, this time we were watching Cortez Kennedy as he's been penetrating. Here, once again, he breaks through. Watch him here. But also notice that these defensive linemen are being very, very aware of not getting to the quarterback late. Look how he's just kind of like pulling up a little bit. He thinks Humphreys might be trying to run, but he will make some contact before this day is over.
Has shed a few pounds since last year and says he expects to be quicker. On 2nd down, they set the screen for Leonard Russell. Russell gets past the first man, finds his way back to the middle of the field into San Diego, or into Seattle territory at the 44-yard line off the 20-yard screen pass gain.
Great play-action pass. First of all, play-action pass draws the entire defense to the defense's left. You're going to see it here coming over to the left. All the linemen chasing Humphreys as he throws back to Leonard Russell. The only man between Russell and some yardage is Winston Moss. And Winston, look at the numbers, man. Break it down. You know, I'll tell you what, it happens to the best of them.
And you saw Russell limping. That brings Hayden onto the field for the first time. So the man who energized the Charger running game in the second half drive to the playoffs last year, Aaron Hayden, gets his first carry of the season in the wake of Natron Means' departure and picks up a yard.
And he gets the yard, tried to bounce to the outside, but one of the guys that the Seahawks, and I think a lot of people have been waiting to kind of open up and start doing something, Sam Adams gets in and makes the play.
Incidentally, Natron inactive today for the Jacksonville Jaguars as they were getting their season off to a successful start. So Hayden not winning the starting job here yet. Natron not winning the starting job in Jacksonville. Clock ticking down in the first quarter. Second San Diego possession. Humphreys to Papunu. First down yardage down the sideline. 12-yard pickup on the pass to Alfred Papunu, the fifth-year H-back out of Weber State.
Well, they've had Papunu. They got rid of Dwayne Young. There are other guys that have been around for a while. But Papunu is the man that they really counted on. Maybe not as good a blocker as some of the other guys, but he has the soft hands. He's got some size, and when you throw him the ball, he's going to make the difficult catch.
And timeout on the field here is called by the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawks use their first timeout of the battle. You're watching the NFL on NBC. Back in San Diego, we're on their second possession of this opening game against Seattle. The Chargers have gone 49 yards. Stan Humphreys 3 of 4 for 45 yards on the drive. Leonard Russell back in the game at tailback, gets the call here and plows forward for a gain of about 4 before middle linebacker Dean Wells makes the stop for Seattle.
Now Dean Wells is the man who stepped in last year. Anybody remembers Tyrone Stowe was the man playing middle linebacker, big, strong player, broke his arm. Dean Wells stepped in and has kept the job ever since. A very good run stopper. I know that they obviously there's more to it than playing linebacker than stopping the run, but he is catching on.
Second down, Humphreys throws in the flat, complete to Andre Coleman. Coleman, one of a host of new, relatively inexperienced receivers in the core for San Diego this year. And he has enough for the first down at the 20-yard line. As you look at scores at the bottom of your screen, and that's what I mean about Jacksonville getting off to a successful start. 24-9 win over last year's Super Bowl runners-up, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
We watched those guys last year with a 7-9 season. Very respectable because of free agency for an inaugural season.
Fletcher in motion for the Chargers on first down from the 20. Humphreys looking into the end zone. Throws right between two Seattle defenders. Neither receiver got to the football. Alfred Papunu, number 86, may have been the man for whom the throw was intended, but the Seahawks had a better shot at the ball, Bob.
Well, Michael Barber and Dean Wells taking a shot on Papunu, slowing him up a little bit. and didn't allow him to get as deep. Safety's back there to make the play, but it was the linebackers making contact with Papunu early on that kind of broke his stride.
Because Darrell Williams, who was gunning for the interception, couldn't quite get his hands on the football. 2nd down 10. Fletcher in the game at running back for San Diego. Chargers throw in the slot. Complete to Shannon Mitchell. And a good tackle in the open field by Darrell Williams, the free safety. Mark Wright tells us it'll be offside Seattle. Good look at Bobby Ross.
Well, Shannon Mitchell is not really known for his hand. He's kind of he's a blocker first, receiver second, but he's caught a couple of passes already today.
Offside.
Chargers allowing Dwayne Young to go away. Ross said, well, when Dwayne was in the ball game, teams were ganging up against our run. We need to at least suggest the possibility of a pass reception.
And they have that now.
Number 70, defense, lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Michael Sinclair, the 6th-year defensive end out of eastern New Mexico, called for the offside infraction.
Who they fought very hard to say. They said one of their keys in the offseason was to sign 2 free agents in particular, Robert Blackman and Michael Sinclair.
And in signing Blackman, the strong safety, they had to elect to let free safety veteran Eugene Robinson go. He's in Green Bay now. Coleman and Fletcher in the game at skilled positions for San Diego. Papunu and Mitchell, both H-backs on the field. Darrell Fletcher is the setback behind Humphreys. And Humphreys' throw is complete to Mitchell, his 3rd catch of the game. And it's good for 1st down yardage. Let's see about the play.
Well, Michael Barber was all over Mitchell's back as he made the catch.
So you're suggesting a possible pass interference to be declined here?
Dare I? Dare I suggest?
Never hurts to guess if you don't want. I mean, you know.
No, I think it looked like where the flag was thrown and when it was thrown, it looked like Barber might have been making contact as Shannon Mitchell started to make that inward slant. And as all the referees nod their heads in agreement. Thank you.
Synchronicity.
Pass interference. Number 54, defense, penalties declined. Completed pass.
Bob Golick off to a good start.
Brilliantly done, Bob. Maybe not the toughest call you've ever made, but, you know, it's always good to start off with a successful one.
It's the first regular season. Yeah, okay, there might have been a little bit of coverage right there.
Michael leaving nothing to chance down there. 1st and goal now for the Chargers with the football at the 9-yard line. Give is to Leonard Russell, and Russell pounds inside the 5 to about the 4. Chargers running right at Sam Adams and Cortez Kennedy in the middle of the Seattle defense. Winston Moss made the tackle from the outside linebacker.
And Jim, right now, one of the things that's happening is that you've got Cortez, you've got Sam getting the penetration up front, getting into the offensive line of the Chargers, but the linebackers, if you're seeing where the running back is being tackled 5 yards downfield, aren't getting up and making the play up on the line. They're sitting back and they're waiting for the running back to get to them.
12th play of a classic San Diego drive, mixing the controlled pass with the run. Russell trying to lean toward the end zone, and the pile stands him up. He'll make it to about the 3. Cortez Kennedy right in the thick of the action for the Seahawks.
Well, Cortez Kennedy, we'll be talking about him all day long. You see him right there, right in the middle of the screen. Watch, he's just going to, one guy, Courtney Hall, trying to get a hold of him. Gets a big shot on Leonard Russell and just holds him up until his friends can come and help him drag him down.
Tez hoping to come back to the level that he occupied in 1992 when he was the National Football League's Defensive Player of the Year. 3rd down and goal. First 3rd down play that the Chargers have faced in the drive. Humphreys rolls. Gets rid of the football for a touchdown. Tony Martin got lost in the middle of all that action and found an open spot for Humphreys.
Well, Jim, the last member of the three-headed monster, Tony Martin, Sean Jefferson, Mark Say from last year. A veteran knows where to go, finds an open spot as Stan Humphries stands very confidently in his little extended pocket, just shunning defenders as they try to drag him down.
Yeah, you saw the poise of Humphries there as the Chargers had two instances where Seattle had a shot at him. John Carney missing the kick as Sean Salisbury, his brand new holder, couldn't get it down. Did they say he made it? Looked like he missed it. It's on the board at 7-0. We'll check it and we'll be back.
This is the NFL on NBC.
Back in San Diego, John Carney preparing to kick off, and let's clean up the old lampoon very quickly here and show you that it is 7-0. This kick hits the end side of the upright and plunges through the goalposts to make it, in fact, 7-0 Chargers. So,
Jim, I respect your honesty. A lesser man would have ignored that.
No, that's just called a play-by-play mistake.
There you go.
First one of the year. Steve Broussard is in the middle, number 31 for the Seahawks, and Broussard goes back to his goal line to catch the authoritative kick from Carney. Broussard across the 20 and goes out of bounds at about the 25-yard line, and the Seahawks will start their second possession of the game from there.
Well, Jim, you know, going into this series, and I know that we're talking about the entire season starting for the Hawks here, but it rests on this man, on Rick Mirer. If you look at the rest of this offense, you're looking at the Galloway, you look at Brian Blades, Ricky Proehl, Mike Pritchard. He's got the tools, as well as Carlos Crumpton, Christian Fourier.
Warren, Max Strong.
Exactly.
Two tight ends who can catch the ball.
He is surrounded by a ton of talent.
Yep, absolutely. He's got to make it work. In that last drive, Stan Humphries, 6 of 8 for 58 yards. Mirer tries to answer. First throw is complete. Number 89, Brian Blades with the catch. Dwayne Harper, the former Seahawk, on the coverage, and Blades is close to a first down. It'll depend on the mark. And indeed, they give him credit for 11 yards and a first down.
Yeah, look at the nice zone, sitting back, and maybe because it's early in the season, they're giving him a little bit more room, trying to feel these guys out. You know, this being the first regular season game, but you don't want to give Brian Blades that much room to make a play.
Blades coming back from the tumultuous year in his life that brought the manslaughter trial in Florida. Chris Warren gets outside on first down and gets a gain of about 6. Harper makes the stop for Seattle. Of course, as you know, Brian Blades was the trigger man in the accidental shooting of his cousin Charles before the 1995 season. As he awaited trial, he played the entire 95 season, caught 77 balls, which his teammates said was an incredible accomplishment. Eventually, as you know, this spring, the trial, a conviction, and then 2 days later, the judge setting aside the conviction, allowing Brian, for the moment, to go free. He could face another trial. On second down, the ball is batted down out of Meyer's hands. Reuben Davis, number 93, plunging through the middle to make contact with the ball for San Diego.
And just to finish this up, you know, a lot of people question that decision to overturn it, Jim. But you know what? This, obviously, there's a victim involved here in this case, in his cousin. But the reality is that also was his family. They didn't want him to go away. There was an extenuating circumstance. So for the judge to do that, to make that decision to overturn, was not that unusual.
Prosecutors have a chance to appeal. They're doing it now. They expect a decision from the judges within 12 to 18 months as to whether to go back to sentencing on Blades' original conviction. And here flags go down before the third down play gets underway for Seattle.
Well, Marco Coleman jumped off before the ball was snapped, but as he jumped, he got James Atkins to go with him, and I think they're going to call it on Seattle. Because Coleman needs an opportunity to get back on his side of the ball, but Atkins jumped, anticipating a quick rush.
On number 3, offense.
Now they're going to call it on Meyer.
5-yard penalty, third down.
Okay, they're gonna call it on Meyer to make it his cadence. You're gonna see Coleman right here getting the jump, which draws James Atkins 74s off sides, or actually motion. But the reality is that they called it on Meyer because of perhaps cadence maybe make a little move under the center.
So 3rd and 4 becomes 3rd and 9, and the Seahawks are starting to get mired in administrative problems on offense. Let's see if Meyer can straighten him out and pick up a first down here. 3 wide receivers to the left. Meyer throws underneath to Ricky Proehl, who makes a nice move away from the coverage and rips it back to midfield for a 14-yard gain and a first down. Rodney Harrison, number 37, was the man who could not get to Proehl to wrap him up short of the first down marker.
And at the beginning of this drive, we talked about the fact that they've got these wide receivers, Proehl and Pritchard. We asked, hey, which one's the third wide receiver, which one's the fourth? They kind of said, well, they're both kind of 3.5. You know, both guys can be considered the third wide receiver behind Galloway and Blades.
12 seconds remaining in the first period. Football directly at midfield. Meyer with the play fake, plenty of time, throws complete to Crumpler, and Crumpler is inside the 30 to the San Diego 25 before Harrison knocks him out of bounds. A pickup of 25 yards for the Seahawks.
And Crumpler wide open, but I'll tell you what, Meyer took a shot in the back on that play.
First quarter comes to a close. Chargers leading 7-0. We'll be back to San Diego. Back in San Diego, and of course, you cannot look at that promotional information on punt, pass, and kick without reflecting that Rick Meyer of the Seattle Seahawks is the NFL's most famous punt, pass, and kick product ever. He was a winner in the punt, pass, and kick competition, and of course, the legend has been told many times about Meyer quieting the field, or quieting the crowd in Soldier Field in Chicago to make way for his pass, raising his arm to quiet the thousands when he was 11 years old. Here it's first down 10 after the 27-yard play from Meyer to Carl-Lester Crumpler, and Chris Warren has a pickup of about 5 before Ruben Davis makes the stop for San Diego.
You know, I mean, we talked about the strengths on this Seattle Seahawks team, but it doesn't look that they have any kind of a rhythm yet. They haven't established anything. They've been trying to get the pass game going a little bit. You've got a tremendous talent and threat in Chris Warren, and yet you really haven't put him in a position to explode.
Well, their rhythm develops when Warren starts to move the chains single-handedly on offense. Here, 4 carries for 11 yards so far. Meyer's throw is caught by Crumpler. The third-year tight end out of East Carolina is beginning to make a big impact as a pass catcher. Kurt Gouveia with the tackle for the Chargers.
And he was thrown, that ball was thrown between Gouveia and another defender, and great concentration by Crumpler, who last year basically, I don't want to say lost his job, but Christian Fourier became the tight end of choice for the Seahawks. Crumpler continues working, and now because of an injury to Fourier, he is back again. Fourier, excuse me.
Fourier back today and ready to play, but number 2 on the tight end depth chart behind Crumpler, who had a good preseason. Measurement coming here from Mark Bright's crew to determine whether the Seahawks have earned a first down inside the 15-yard line. They're going to be about a ball short.
Well, this is a time where you've got to count on your strength. You look to Chris Warren. You need an inch. You need a couple of inches. The downside of that is that San Diego also is saying, hey, they're probably going to go count on Chris Warren.
San Diego, one of the toughest teams in the league to run against traditionally. When Warren went over 100 yards rushing against them in the second game between these two teams last fall, he was the first back in 38 games to crack the century mark rushing against the Chargers.
I wouldn't be surprised if Rick Meyer did a quarterback sneak on this one.
Meyer, 6'2", 214 pounds. Does in fact sneak it and reaches forward to try to influence ball placement. Marco Coleman, number 90, was there to help seal it off for the Chargers. Meyer tried to go against Sean Lee and Ruben Davis and could make no headway.
I've never thought of a quarterback sneak as being a play where you read the hole that you're going to run to. You usually just take it, put the head down, and go forward. It looked like Rick was trying to kind of pick a hole and cut back, and you just got to go and push on that one.
And with his bravery in extending the football, Meyer picked up the first down for the Seahawks. So it'll be first down at the 14-yard line. Bravery or foolhardiness?
It's his throwing arm. It's his bravery. He knew he had to do something to get it.
He had no first down if he didn't reach out there and put the football there. First down now at the 14-yard line for Erickson Seahawks, trailing 7-0 after the Chargers got a touchdown pass on their second possession from Humphries to Tony Martin. 3 wide receivers on the field for Seattle. Meyer throws to Crumpler. And the tight end has another catch down to the 7, perhaps to the 6-yard line. Dwayne Harper and Rodney Harrison making the stop for San Diego.
Just a short out, and Crumpler's really showing he's working. He's not just working against linebackers, where, you know, sometimes you match up and you see Crumpler right now, 4 catches for 44 yards. A lot of times you see the tight ends working against linebackers and say, okay, maybe they're out quicking them. He's working against some DBs, and he's really showing a great knowledge of finding the open field.
Call it a gain of 8, second down 2 with the football at the 6. Chargers shifting on defense. Show blitz. Don't come. Meyer throws in the end zone. Harper breaks it up. Intended for Brian Blades. No, intended for Pritchard, number 85. He was on the field as the third receiver, and Pritchard, the big name pickup from Denver, was blanketed by Dwayne Harper there.
And you'll watch, Mike Pritchard got up and argued this one strongly because this was a great play by Dwayne Harper. The timing and coming in, making the shot, and making a play on the ball at the same time. Incredible timing it takes there. And a good call by the referee.
Interesting decision here for the Seahawks. Third down 2. Warren is lined up, 7 yards back from Meyer. Now he goes in motion, and there is no setback. Warren becomes a wide receiver. Meyer runs through the middle into the end zone, but a flag is down behind him. And the Chargers are applauding as though the call is going to go against James Atkins of the Seahawks.
Well, Sean Lee was cheering him on and saying, yep, it was against them. And it looked like as they had the motion, Chris Warren comes out of the backfield. Obviously, you're going to pass the ball. The only possible running opportunity is a quarterback draw, which is what they were going to try.
There is no holding on the play. Touchdown.
There you have it. So the flag relates either to a misinterpretation or nothing.
Let's
Bobby Ross is saying, what in the world is going on here?
Let's take a look. Atkins is up on this side up here. See if we can see where the holding takes place. Well, there were a couple of guys with arms entangled, but nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, that doesn't constitute holding. 11 play, 76-yard drive for the Seahawks culminates in the 6-yard touchdown run by Meyer. Meyer now with 2 carries for 39 yards and a TD. Todd Peterson to add the extra point. Kevin Mawai's first snap as a kick snapper. He gets a good one, and Peterson easily knocks it through out of Rick Tootin's hold, and it's 7 apiece with 12:01 to go in the half.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by the all-new Eclipse Spider convertible. It's fun you can depend on from Mitsubishi. By Beck's. Taste German beer at its finest. Beck's, America's favorite German beer. And by True Value, the official hardware store of the NFL.
Back in San Diego, where while you were away, Bobby Ross had what might be called a heated discussion with referee Jerry Markbright and his crew about the flag, which led to nothing on Rick Meyer's 6-yard touchdown run. Todd Peterson kicks the football away for San Diego. Andre Coleman takes it inside the 5. And as Coleman gets it across the 20 to about the 22-yard line, the Chargers will start from there. And let's take a look, Bob Golick, at Bobby Ross's little conference with the officials.
While you were getting a sandwich, we were out here watching Bobby doing his best Tommy Lasorda imitation, getting into the faces. And he kind of has a point. If a flag is thrown for holding, how can the flag just be picked up and taken away? And I think Bobby Ross feels very strongly about that fact.
He got to Chad Brown, the umpire. He got to Don Hakes, the field judge. He had Markbright, the referee, there for a while, but ultimately it leads to nothing. It's 7 apiece. Aaron Hayden in the game at tailback. Tony Martin makes the catch on the short pass through the middle from Stan Humphries. And let's take one more look at Meyer's touchdown run. And again, you know, it's an NFL play. Could he call holding? Sure.
Yeah, now let's watch. There's no running backs. The only running possibility here is a draw. Maybe they're talking about the hook right there. a couple of guys getting their arms locked up. We're seeing the flag thrown, but obviously, under further review, the rest of the referees talked them out of it.
That was rookie Pete Kendall with the hook on Reuben Davis, and Kendall avoids the holding call there, as did Atkins. Meanwhile, it's 2nd down 5 for the Chargers. Terrell Fletcher back in the game at tailback. Chargers shifting their H-back and tight end. And Humphreys gives to Fletcher, who changes directions and finds a hole across the 35 to the 36. Another Charger first down. 9-yard pickup for Fletcher, and the second-year running back from Wisconsin is saying, hey, wait a minute. After all that offseason talk about Aaron Hayden, maybe I'm supposed to be the guy.
Well, you know, you talk about Terrell Fletcher, and you wanted to compare him to another departed San Diego Charger in Ronnie Harmon. Now watch him here. He's going to start in and then zip all the way back to the outside. That is his strong suit. That quick, shifty, being able to find an opportunity, an open hole, and make the break for it. Great play at the point of attack by the defense, but they've got to continue their pursuit.
Hayden back on the field on first down. Fletcher with 4 carries for 30 yards. The throw in the flat to Tony Martin, and Martin is just lining up underneath the Seattle coverage and turning around. Excuse me, for catches right now. So it'll be 2nd down long after that one.
Yeah, a little bit on the conservative side. Corey Harris right there to make the play, but really not a play. Nothing he can make as the ball is thrown low and away from him.
Well, you'll remember how I told you, Bob, that the Chargers were going to pass protect and take some deep shots today. So far, everything underneath. Hayden with the running play breaks out for the first time this season. Gets across the 50 to the 48-yard line. 13-yard gain for Aaron Hayden.
Great play and a great block. Nice lead block to really pop Aaron Hayden. You're going to watch, you're going to see right over here, a block is going to take place right there on the support, the run support, which just opens up the opening. There, Dean Wells over pursuing. And Aaron Hayden making the cutback.
Another first down for San Diego. Hayden stays on the field at tailback. Humphrey's throw is batted away, I believe, by Cortez. Yep, number 96. Tasmania at the line of scrimmage as Kennedy bats it away.
Well, Cortez is, as you'll see after most of these plays, will stand and rest, I believe. But as you become a veteran, you get a lot of playing time, and there's a lot of times that after plays, just kind of, you catch your breath. A lot of times maybe you'll get up slow. The trainers know, leave him alone, he's just resting.
You saw the career numbers on Tez, 38.5 sacks. That's excellent for a defensive tackle. Humphreys with a lot of time this time, takes that first deep shot. Double coverage on Tony Martin. Corey Harris was there along with Robert Blackman, and they batted the football away.
Yeah, without a doubt. And plus, Tony Martin had to go deep. The ball was underthrown, so both Blackman and Harris both had coverage on it. Good protection up front. Well, you're going to watch Tez working inside as he still hasn't had a spell out there. Courtney Hall initially taking the shot at him, but once again, Aaron Hayden. And you got a guy as dominant as Cortez, you're going to get as many guys on him as possible.
3rd down 10 for San Diego. Terrell Fletcher back on the field. Humphreys rolls away from pressure, and the ball is batted again by Cortez.
Amazing.
Tremendous play in this first half of the football game by Cortez Kennedy, coming back to the level where he alone played in 1992.
And he's getting double teamed, and plus he's not rushing straight upfield. There's a little bit of a kind of a sprint, half sprint motion out to the one side. Cortez not only gets upfield to get into the quarterback's face, but he also moves down along the line of scrimmage, covering a lot of ground for a big man.
Kennedy destroys that San Diego drive. Darren Bennett comes on to kick it away. Second punt of the game for the former Austin Rules football star. Seahawks punt returner moved away and made room for the football to go into the end zone, so Seattle will start its next possession from its 20-yard line. We come back to a 7-7 game. We bring it back to San Diego, where it's 7-7 with 9:05 to go in the second quarter. Touchdown pass from Humphreys to Tony Martin for the Chargers, followed by a 6-yard touchdown run for Rick Meyer of the Seahawks. And now Seattle begins its 3rd possession of the football game from its 20-yard line. Reverse, give to Joey Galloway. Galloway with a little room, gets outside for a gain of about 3. before Harper helps to run him out of bounds.
Well, Joey Galloway did everything he could to get anything out of that. Junior Seau, as we know, will move up and down the line and kind of find a spot to attack. Look, you'll see him right in the middle of the screen, right here, as he attacks. He is just going to almost blow everything up as he hits about everybody who doesn't have the ball and just misses Joey Galloway.
Followed a pickup of 3, second down 7 for Meyer and the Hawks. Meyer throws. This time Galloway is the receiver on the play and has a 12-yard gain out to the 35-yard line. First down Seattle. Terrence Shaw and Kevin Ross there to make a careful stop on Galloway.
Yeah, and you say careful stop because you want to make sure you get him stopped. You do not want Joey Galloway catching the ball and getting too much room to run. We saw what he could do last year as a rookie.
And Meyer, who started off throwing almost exclusively to tight end Carlester Crumpler, now gets it to a wide receiver. He's 8 of 11 for 80 yards in the game. Also has 39 yards running the ball. Almost the first pick of the year. And remember that Rick Meyer threw 20 interceptions a year ago. Ball hawk Rodney Harrison, who had 2 picks on this field against the Seahawks last year, almost got that one.
And the ball was being thrown to Alfred Papuno. And, excuse me, he was being thrown to Christian Fourier. And really had to lay out really hard for it. Just let him a little bit, and I think maybe Fourier may have lost his footing in the dirt of the infield.
Scores at the bottom of the screen. Green Bay leading Tampa Bay 10-3. A lot of people rooting for Brett Favre to have a big year in the wake of his rehabilitation. Warren with the football. And he's tripped up from behind as he tries to get outside. Helmet free on the field. It belongs to Reuben Davis. Rayleigh Johnson, number 99, was the man who grabbed Chris Warren's ankle and wouldn't let him get going.
We got a holding call against Seattle. You know, Jim, I think Chris Warren enjoyed life a little bit more last year when he was the underrated Chris Warren. Well, now he's kind of rated because people have an idea what he can do, and they're definitely keying in on him.
Yeah, he is so ultra chic now on the West Coast that there's a mystique that's attached to this notion that nobody on the East Coast knows about him.
Right.
But the fact is, by now, they know about him.
They know him.
Football at the 25-yard line after the holding mark-off. Second down, 20 yards to go for a first down. Meyer with Warren behind him and 4 wide receivers. And the screen pass to Warren, and Warren characteristically picking his way slowly through the San Diego defense. Gets a gain of about 3. It'll be third down long when we come back. Let's go to Greg in New York.
All right, Jim, earlier today, defending AFC champion Pittsburgh lost to Jacksonville 24-9. The news on 5-time Pro Bowl linebacker Greg Lloyd is not good. Lloyd suffered a torn patella tendon in his left knee. He is out for the year. That is devastating news for the Steelers, who lost Rod Woodson for virtually the entire year last season when he suffered a knee injury on opening day. Let's go back to Jim Lampley and Bob Golick.
All right, thanks very much, Greg. So bad news for the Steelers, and as Greg pointed out, a year ago they lose Woodson. Now they lose Greg Lloyd. Third down, ultra long for Seattle. They play it safe with Warren on the running play. Harper knocks him out of bounds, and onto the field will come Rick Tootin, one of the better punters in the NFL, to kick it away. Darian Gordon will go deep to receive for San Diego.
But Jim, that Pittsburgh Steelers team is just has its problems. It's amazing what one team coming out of the Super Bowl last year can have fallen potentially so far through loss of players, loss of coaches, and now with some injuries.
That's the way the Chargers felt at midseason last year.
That's right.
Tootin gets the football away. Gordon peels back to his 15 and has some room along the sideline, gets it all the way back to the 29-yard line. 52-yard punt, 16-yard return, 36 yards net for the Seahawks, and Stan Humphries and company will have the football when we come back. Back in San Diego, 7 apiece, 6:21 to go in the second quarter. Bright spots offensively for both teams so far. The bright spot defensively for the Seahawks as they line up for the third Charger possession has been the play of Cortez Kennedy. Make this the 4th Charger possession. On first down, Aaron Hayden with the football, and Hayden gets past Dean Wells to fall forward for a gain of about 7 before Michael Sinclair makes the stop for Seattle.
Well, we hate to put this on Cortez, but this is, I think, the first series that they took Cortez out. So he's out. Glenn Montgomery and Sam Adams inside, but Michael Sinclair working hard. They strung the play out nicely, but Hayden just has a great ability to find an open spot and make the break.
Good feed. Here's a look at Michael Barber finding his way along the line of scrimmage and getting blocked. On second down, Hayden again with the football for San Diego and looking to get it to the 40 for a first down. He's going to be a yard short. It'll leave San Diego facing 3rd down 1.
Well, at one time, you know, I would agree with them. With an offensive line that the Chargers usually have, go pound away on them a little bit. But they have had their share of some of the injuries coming into the regular season here, losing Isaac Davis, Eric Moten. I mean, all these guys get nicked.
There's Tez on the sideline. He said to us yesterday, I'm not used to that. I'll be interested to see what it's like to actually get some rest during a game. Leonard Russell with the football, and Russell, who it appears is headed for short yardage specialist duties for the Chargers, gets the first down here.
Well, they lined up and they ran over Kokozo, Vaughn Parker. Actually, I think Troy Sinkowitz was in.
And they were going at Sam Adams, number 98.
Yep, right there you see Michael Sinclair, you see Wells and Barber coming up to make a play, but enough of a stalemate at the line where they could bust through for the first down.
So it's first down 10 from the 41-yard line. Fletcher is the tailback behind Humphries. Shannon Mitchell in the slot. He's caught a lot of balls early, and the pass is batted down this time by Sinclair.
And that wasn't even a tip. That was a full-fledged stuff.
That was like a volleyball block. And now Kennedy comes back onto the field for the Seahawks, having gotten a 4-play rest.
I actually think the coaches probably just got a little worried the way he was pacing the sidelines, that he was just going to start taking some of his frustrations out over the sidelines where it wasn't as safe.
Now, this is what Tez told us would be the case, that he would get spot rests throughout the game as 3rd defensive tackle Glenn Montgomery, picked up from Houston in a trade, comes on to spell him. Humphries throws down the middle to Tony Martin, and Martin is on the loose inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line. A flag is down after this 27-yard Humphries to Martin game.
Now, the problem is Dean Wells, the middle linebacker for the Seahawks, who we told you is a pretty good, as you're seeing, offsides against the Seahawks.
Offside, number 94, defense. Lined up in the neutral zone, penalty decline. First down.
Dean Wells, the middle linebacker, ended up actually being out there in coverage on Martin as he just kind of zipped through his zone. You're going to see there in the middle, you see Dean Wells right there going to pick him up as he comes across, and it's just the speed difference is just too much for him.
We told you a year ago, Martin 13 catches for 163 yards, now 5 for 51 already here with a touchdown. Throw is from Humphries to Fletcher, and Fletcher fights for a gain of about 7 before Michael Barber is there to make the stop for Seattle, along with Robert Blackman, number 25, the strong safety.
And I think we're starting to see for the first time in this game one team developing a rhythm. The Chargers almost look like they're feeling good about how things are going. They're mixing the runs in with the passes, and they're timing things up pretty well right now.
Aaron Hayden back in the game at tailback for San Diego. Hayden showing more signs now that he is destined to become the starting tailback. Tony Martin and Andre Coleman on the field at wide receiver. Coleman in motion back toward the ball. Hayden hesitates and uses his good field vision to get outside to the right and pick up a first down before Carlton Gray can make the stop.
Now, somebody blew it on the backside because he made that cutback, and if it was supposed to be Carlton Gray, then he needs to get up on the line of scrimmage a little closer, because you're going to see that right here it's going to come down to Dean Wells reacting. Winston Moss on the outside gets caught out there. Dean Wells just can't get there to stop that play and keep it from getting outside.
Nifty piece of running by Hayden, gets the first down. Hayden goes back out. Terrell Fletcher comes on the field. You see the numbers on the current drive. Humphries' throw again complete to Tony Martin, and Corey Harris is there to make the stop. Martin working over the Seahawks secondary yet again.
Corey Harris.
And you know, and this is a good secondary. It really is, Jim. It's a good secondary with guys that have experience and are playing well. But this is a Charger team right now, as I said before, that really looks like they found a rhythm.
Well, as the season goes on, it'll be interesting to see if Humphreys can develop relationships with any of the other wide receivers. But Martin caught 90 balls last year and has caught a half dozen already today. Terrell Fletcher with the football on second down short, and Fletcher is inside the 10-yard line with enough to pick up a first down and make it first down and goal San Diego. And with that, the 2-minute warning arrives. So with the score 7-7 and the Chargers threatening to go back on top, we'll be back after this word from the National Football League.
2-minute warning.
Second week of the NFL coming up next Sunday here on NBC Sports. Here, just past the 2-minute warning in San Diego. Seahawks and Chargers tied up at 7. But the Chargers have first and goal from the 7-yard line. Humphreys looking for Coleman. Flag down in the end zone. You think it's going to be against Gray?
Well, no, you know what? Right now it looks like they're thinking.
I think it could have been offense.
Yeah, he might have been pushing off, trying to get some separation from Carlton.
Pass interference. Number 83.
It is offense.
10-yard penalty. First down.
Andre Coleman, you're going to see him right there in the center of your screen. He's going to take Gray upfield and take him to the outside. And right there, you see the push-off. With his right arm, just kind of reached back and said, hey, I need a little bit more room here. And luckily, there's referees to make those calls.
Yeah, there were pushes on both sides, but definitely Coleman with the first tactical shove. So a minute 56 to go in the half. Chargers with 198 yards total offense already. 121 in the air, 77 on the ground. Coleman and Martin, the wide receivers. And after the mark-off, it's now first and goal from a long way back. Humphreys gets away from the first man and then comes down in the hands of Sam Adams. Philip Daniels, number 93, the rookie out of Georgia, was the first man there.
Now Humphreys is indicating that this might be against the Seahawks for face mask.
Face mask foul on the defense. 5-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
It might have been Philip Daniels as he made the trying to pull Humphreys down, and Humphreys trying to elude him.
The penalty will take the ball back to the previous line of scrimmage. It will be first down.
And there's Philip Daniels. Let's see. He's the first man that got in on Humphreys. Let's see if we can see where the face mask took place. As you see Humphreys on the right side of your screen. At that point, it must not have taken place on Humphreys unless it happened before we caught it on the camera.
I think it might have taken place a tiny bit earlier when Daniels first got there. But they moved the football back to the 17, so it remains first and goal from the 17-yard line. Charlie Jones and Tony Martin both in the game at wideout. Here's Terrell Fletcher, and Fletcher this time is hemmed in. And a good play by Michael Sinclair. The Seahawks, unlike some teams in the league, prefer their defensive ends in the 260 to 270-pound category, and they're holding up pretty well today. We'll be back. Bring it back to San Diego with the Chargers still trying to break this tie apart. 1 minute 40 seconds to go before halftime. Today, the MetLife Blimp Snoopy 2 is cruising the skies above San Diego, California. The MetLife Blimp contains 70,000 cubic feet of helium and measures almost 50 yards in length from nose to tail. Wow. Just a couple of blimp stats that you may not have had at your fingertip command, Bob.
I've read a lot of stuff this week, Jim, but
70,000 cubic feet of helium. Is that what I said?
I think you said 50,000. No, you said 50 yards long.
And we'll also tell you that coming up at a halftime report, the Domino's Pizza halftime report from our NFL studio, Greg Gumbel with Mike Ditka, Joe Gibbs, Chris Collinsworth scores and highlights. Greg already with the Hustle Award today for having broken in to tell us about Greg Lloyd's season-ending torn patella tendon for the Steelers. Second down and goal. Humphreys looking for Martin in the end zone and throws it out of bounds. Good coverage. by Selwyn Jones, the fifth-year corner out of Colorado State.
And boy, pressure put on Stan Humphries on that one. To the point where he was lucky he got that up. He just laid that up there and hoped that somebody would make a catch.
Well, the Seahawks have gotten a great first half out of Cortez Kennedy, and the rest of the defense has kind of hung on, hoping to find a way to turn the momentum around.
They need to step up. They've got to play with the intensity that Cortez Kennedy is playing with.
Coleman, Martin, and Fletcher on the field. Coleman in motion. Third down and goal. Humphries hit as he throws it, and it's batted out of bounds. Charlie Jones, the intended receiver. McCrary was the man who made the hit on Humphries, and Dexter Sigler was there to cover Charlie Jones downfield.
Well, instead of straight rushing, they're starting to do some crossing moves. You saw McCrary moving to the inside. He's getting covered to the outside by Sam Adams and bust through with a little bust up on the game pickup by the San Diego offensive line.
Hot day. The Seahawks rotating defensive lineman. McCrary, the backup, with a big play there. Carney now hoping to break the tie. One of the most accurate kickers in the history of the league, trying for a 35-yarder. David Binn the snap. Sean Salisbury the hold, and this one a much surer enterprise than the point after touchdown earlier, as Carney knocks it through the middle and gives San Diego a 10-7 lead with 1:26 to go before the half. Sean Salisbury, brand new holder this year, working with John Carney. And we'll take a look at Ben.
Good shot. Sean with a little bobble there, but you know, it's been a while since he's put a ball down like that.
And you see Carney turn around and say, exactly, that's the way I like it. Laces away from me, ball slightly canted. Brilliant job, Sean.
You know, they brought in Sean Salisbury this year trying to get a little insurance policy for Stan Humphries, who, you know, eventually gets beat up a little bit, as most quarterbacks are in this league. And Sean, from all the reports and talking to the coaches, has just had a great camp, just an incredible camp.
Bob, did you know that the tradition of Notre Dame football returns to NBC Sports in 2 weeks? Have I ever told you about the tradition of Notre Dame football? Star quarterback Ron Paulus and the Fighting Irish welcome the Boilermakers of Purdue onto campus. Notre Dame's home football debut on NBC in 2 weeks. Fighting Irish hosting Purdue. And of course, nobody knows more about the tradition of Notre Dame football than our own golden-domed Bobby G, the fabulous one.
I am, as some of the southern schools call us, a golden BB head.
Steve Broussard deep to receive for the Seahawks as John Carney kicks it away. Another golden domer putting the foot to the ball. And this time, great coverage by the Chargers. Carney's kick was high. It was at an angle. Broussard looked to get across field and couldn't get past David Hendricks, number 38, the reserve strong safety, who was there to make the initial stop. So Meyer comes on with 1:19 left and difficult field position at the 13-yard line, and I would have to assume that they'll consider trying to get Warren going here.
Well, you know, they're going to have to, but they haven't got him into the game yet. They haven't got him into a flow of the game. Right now, the best I think that they're going to hope for is to try and get themselves, or at least try for a long kick.
Warren 5 carries for 16 yards so far. Let's see if Meyer wants to throw from here. He does. Led the league in interceptions a year ago and almost throws one here as it's in and out of the hands of Glenn Young.
Oh, man. And good pressure on Rick Meyer from both sides. Just got sandwiched.
Well, this is why I was suggesting the run with Chris Warren.
Because they know they need to get down, and they need to get down quick. And here you have just the Pritchard and the short, just a kind of a short slant overthrown, and the pressure really took the concentration off of Rick Meyer, and ball really overthrown to Mike Pritchard. And Glenn Young, unfortunately, a linebacker, more looking for the hit than for the interception.
Coleman 90 and Rayleigh Johnson 99 meeting at the quarterback. 2nd down 10. They go with the draw play and get Chris Warren some yardage before Marco Coleman makes the tackle after the 12-yard gain, and that's the play I was calling.
And then why didn't you tell us, Jim? Why did you tell them? Great play selection by the Seahawks when they knew that they had to get some yardage.
From the 25 on 1st down, Meyer a little bit safer now, but won't release the football until he's absolutely certain of Brian Blades on the sideline. 5-yard gain, Blades out of bounds, stop the clock with 46 seconds.
Well, they're going to give him a little bit of room. Blades was on the sideline. Kevin Ross had given him about 3-4 yards of cushion to just not let him get behind him at this point.
46 seconds left. Second down 5. Time to work just a little bit more before you resort to trying to take a shot with Galloway deep.
Which, you're right, and it's kind of surprising that they haven't opened Joey Galloway up yet.
Might be worried about protection with rookie Pete Kendall in the offensive line. Here it's a screen set up, and Meyer throws it to an empty spot on the field, and a flag goes down.
Well, good pressure once again, blitzed by Glenn Young coming right up the middle to get into Rick
Intentional
Meyer's
grounding,
face.
number 3.
And as we said, Meyer just found an empty spot on the field and gets a rare intentional grounding call.
And it's loss of down.
Jim, they told us, and you're going to see here, you're going to see the blitz is going to come from a Glenn Young is going to step up, and excuse me, right here, he's going to come in with the blitz here real quick, dead on up the middle. Both guys, both backers crossing to cross up the coverage right into Meyer's face, and he just dumps the ball. And one of the things they told us about Meyer was that his progression reads for receivers is better, but when he has nowhere to throw the ball, he's making better decisions. And the point is, we're not seeing it yet.
Well, his tactical decision there cost him a lot of field position as it moves it back to the 15-yard line, where it's third down, 15 yards to go. And again, Warren gets the call, and he steps gingerly out of bounds at about the 18. Glenn Young giving chase again, number 59.
And a name we haven't called yet also, in Junior Seau, who got up there and has been playing good, solid ball today. Got him to push him to bounce outside so Glenn Young can make the hit.
And because the intentional grounding was a loss of down penalty, it brings us to fourth down, and Rick Tootin will line up the punt inside his 5-yard line. Now Darian Gordon stands at his 37 and hopes to create a final scoring opportunity of the half for the Chargers. With 37 seconds still on the clock. Big kick by Tootin. Gordon running straight back to his 22-yard line. Good coverage by McKnight, but he lets him get away. And Gordon could get inside Carlester Crumpler, who made a clutch tackle at the 40. 61-yard punt, 20-yard return. Big play by Crumpler to save a possible touchdown.
I'll tell you what an amazing, watching, you're going to see him start to the right. Two guys right there to make the hit. And just a great awareness in field position. Sees the block set up and makes the break to the outside. And Jim, you're right. Carlester Crumpler, probably one of the few guys on that coverage guy that actually stayed where he was supposed to stay. And because of that, saved a big play.
On first down, Humphries throws in the flat to Charlie Jones, and the rookie out of Fresno State has his first NFL regular season catch before Selwyn Jones knocks him out of bounds at midfield. 18 seconds still left.
And look at Stan. Stan just isn't holding on to the ball very long. He's taking the quick step. He's taking the 3-step drop. He's taking the quick 5-step with a little short sprint out, which by doing that, by getting out from behind the center, makes it more difficult for the defensive lineman to get up in his face.
He's showing you why, though not flashy, he's one of the premier game-winning quarterbacks in the league. Humphries with another smart throw to Papunu, and Papunu sneaks out of bounds at about the 48-yard line. 14 seconds still left.
You know, one of the things we're seeing, if you compare quarterbacks in Rick Weyer's development versus Stan, when Rick drops back, he gets back and then he starts reading. By the time Stan Humphries sets his foot, he has already gone through his wide receivers, through his progression, and he has his man. And that comes with experience. I mean, there's nothing against Rick Meyer. That just comes with experience.
And Humphries in his 9th year out of Northeast Louisiana. Good strong arm, as you see on back throw to Charlie Jones. Jones knocked out of bounds, but not before he picks up 14 yards to the 35.
Do you think he's enjoying himself? Look at this face.
Oh, this guy loves to play football.
He just loves it when things are going right, and he's an emotional guy, so if things go wrong, you see that in his face, too, and I love to see that kind of emotion in a player.
And there's John Carney on the sideline. At this moment, Carney's thinking, well, from there, it would be a 52-yard try. 52 would equal the longest of Carney's career.
And he's thinking, I could do that.
Tony Martin, Charlie Jones, and Andre Coleman, the 3 wides. 9 seconds still left on the clock as Humphries tries to get it closer. They fake the draw to Fletcher. Martin's open. That was almost a touchdown.
Martin had taken Selwyn Jones to the inside, and he had no help. There was no safety help really evident at that point. Took him to the inside. Watch him. He's going to take him, start him outside, get to the inside, and no safety help coming from the inside. He's all by himself. And if that ball is just a little bit shorter, had Martin not gone to the manicurist yesterday and had those nails clipped, he might have had it.
All right, Carney and Salisbury are going to gather an extra yard for themselves and go 8 yards deep of the snap. So this is a 53-yard try. It would be the longest of Carney's career, and it is good. 53-yard field goal for Notre Dame's John Carney. And the Chargers end the half on a positive note. So San Diego, with a skillfully played clinical first half, has the lead over the Seattle Seahawks, though not clear yet at 13-7. Let's go now to Greg Gumbel in New York.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now.
All right, Jim, thank you. Welcome back to New York, everyone. Along with Joe Gibbs, Mike Ditka, Chris Collinsworth, I'm Greg Gumbel. We'll run down scores and highlights for you as we have them, beginning with the game in Miami, where the Dolphins are leading the New England Patriots by a score of 17-3 as they get underway in the third quarter. It's a little early to say that Jimmy Johnson magic is working. However, it looks like a different team.
It's not too early for me to say that. These guys, they can run the football. I didn't think that Miami's offensive line was physically capable of blocking for the run the way that they are. A season ago, they ran the ball only 41% of the time. Today, Dan Marino has only thrown 7 passes in the first half. That's remarkable. He used to do that in the first drive of the game a season ago.
And no one likes to see that running game more than Dan Marino does.
No, I think Marino's going to be happy sitting back there, take a little pressure off him. But I think on the Pat side, if you think about Parcells, I mean, he prides himself on stopping the run. They can't stop the run today. We thought they'd kind of taken care of that in preseason. And the other thing that just kills any team, and Bill Parcells hates turnovers. They're throwing the ball on the ground.
Right.
Has kept them from, I think, making a ball game out of the first half.
All right, Joe. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 14 carries, 57 yards in the first half. In Denver, the Broncos riding roughshod over the New York Jets. The score is 31-0. John Elway, a couple of touchdown passes, one to Shannon Sharp, another to Ed McCaffrey. For Neil O'Donnell, this is a nightmare of an opener, Mike.
Well, last year, the thing the Denver Broncos did not have was a pass rush. So far, they have sacked Neil O'Donnell 7 times in the first half. They've got all the offensive weapons, and even if they didn't have them all, John Elway is going to give you a dimension that no other team in the league is going to have. But now that they're playing pass rush defense, I tell you, they're going to be a good football team all the way through this season.
Yeah, sacked 7 times. He's also fumbled 3 times, lost 2 of those fumbles, and an interception. It is not a good start for Neil O'Donnell. In San Diego, the Chargers leading the Seattle Seahawks, as you have seen. 13-7 is the score at halftime. In San Francisco, the 49ers pitching a shutout against the New Orleans Saints. It is 24-0 San Fran. In Tampa, Green Bay leading Tampa Bay 24-3. Brett Favre has hit tight end Keith Jackson 3 times for touchdown passes at 1 yard, at 4 yards, and at 51 yards. The Packers off to a good start in Tampa. Earlier today in Baltimore, the Ravens beat the Oakland Raiders by a score of 19-14. This is former Colts great John Unitas greeting Ravens coach, but the Ravens hold on to win 19-14, and the fans celebrate the first win in franchise history, 19-14. In Jacksonville, the Jaguars beat up on the Pittsburgh Steelers today, 24-9 the final score. Steeler linebacker Greg Lloyd carted off the field, torn patella tendon. His season is over. Jaguars quarterback Mark Brunell, 2 touchdown passes. This 15-yarder to Keenan McCardle just before halftime. Jacksonville up 14-6. The Steelers rotated all 3 quarterbacks without success. Mike Tomczak picked off by Jaguars #1 draft pick Kevin Hardy. The Jaguars simply outplayed the Steelers and win it by a score of 24-9. And Greg Lloyd gone. Poor play by the Steelers quarterbacks. This is a bad day for Bill Cowher, Joe.
I mean, absolutely awful. And I think it started in the offseason. You make decisions there, key decisions. You have to because of free agency. They decide to let O'Donnell go. It looks like the quarterback picture is totally confused now. And then, of course, they let Kevin Green go, one of their ace pass rushers. On the other side, they're counting on Lloyd to get the job done. He gets hurt today. And I can't picture a worse day for a coach to have. I know Bill Cowher right now on that plane has got to be upset.
All right, Joe. In Indianapolis, the Colts start their season off with a 20-13 win over the Arizona Cardinals. New Arizona head coach Vince Tolan, the Colts defensive coordinator the last 2 years against his old team. This is a scary moment for the Colts. Jim Harbaugh hit hard by defensive tackle Eric Swan. He left with a bruised right arm, but returned in the second half. In the fourth quarter, he finds rookie Marvin Harrison for a 35-yard touchdown pass. Harrison's first NFL touchdown, Harbaugh's second of the game. The Colts win it by a score of 20-13. In Houston, the Chiefs edge the Oilers today, 20-19. In Washington, the Eagles register their 8th straight win over the Redskins, 17-14, the final score there. In St. Louis, the Rams broke out of a tie and beat the Bengals by a score of 26-16. Lawrence Phillips scored 2 touchdowns for St. Louis. In Minnesota, a Brad Johnson to Chris Carter touchdown pass late gave the Vikings a 17-13 win over Detroit. And Carolina over the Falcons today, 29-6. Big day for Kerry Collins, 17 of 31, 198 yards and 2 touchdowns. We'll send you back to San Diego for the second half right after these words from your local station.
This is the Domino's Pizza NFL on NBC Halftime Report, brought to you by Domino's Pizza. For hot and wow, call Domino's. Now.
Welcome back to our NFL on NBC studio. Greg Gumbel along with Joe Gibbs, Mike Ditka, and Chris Collinsworth. We'll talk about the serious injury suffered by Greg Lloyd of Pittsburgh in just a second. First, however, highlights of the Steelers and the Jaguars earlier today in Jacksonville in a game dominated by the Jaguars. That's quarterback Jim Miller of the Steelers making his first lead at 7-0. Early in the second quarter, it was 7-3 Jacksonville. Brunell's pass off the hands of Keenan McCardle into the arms of Levon Kirkland. Pretty interception, but the Steelers didn't capitalize. Miller, ineffective early on, briefly replaced by Cordell Stewart. This was Miller trying to scramble, but sacked by Clyde Simmons, who's playing his first game for the Jaguars. Then just before halftime, Brunell to McCardle, 15 yards and the touchdown. Jacksonville led 14-6 at the break. The serious injury for the Steelers here. Watch number 95, Greg Lloyd, in the center of the screen. He is run into by teammate Rod Woodson. Bill Cowher was obviously concerned over losing his Pro Bowl linebacker. Lloyd was taken off the field on a cart with what was thought to be a knee sprain. It turns out a torn patella tendon in the left knee, and Greg Lloyd is out for the season. This raises all kinds of problems for the team that you'd have to automatically assume at the start of the year was going to be back in AFC Championship contention. What does it mean, Joe, when you not only lose a good defensive player, but really the leader of your defensive unit?
Well, I think you do. You lose the leadership part of it, which they lost last year in Rod Woodson. I think another big decision, we talked about free agency and making decisions in the offseason. Think about this. They let Kevin Green go. That's their other pass rusher. Now they get Greg Lloyd hurt. They've lost their pass rushing. And now we turn to let Neil O'Donnell go, and now they have a very confusing quarterback picture. I don't think anything could have gone worse for Bill Cowher in the first part of the first game.
And that really was the entire basis of that defense a year ago, trying to get the pressure off the corner. And then the guys, Chad Brown and Levon Kirkland, they were getting some sacks right up the middle. But the whole thing was based on getting the pressure from the outside. Now you hit on it exactly. Without Kevin Green, he's gone. And now you take out Greg Lloyd. And he is so much more than just a great football player. He's such a dynamic guy in the clubhouse. He really takes over.
Well, you like to hope the one player doesn't make all the difference, you know, because last year they did turn it around at midseason. They finished strong. They got in the playoffs, went to the Super Bowl. I don't see, they got a lot of problems right now. I mean, they don't have any confidence on offense, and they're not going to have very much confidence on defense because they're going to have to change the way they play defense without the pass rush.
One quick thing about the quarterback, Joe. Miller, 9 of 17 for 83 yards. Tomczak, 3 of 4 for 24. All three quarterbacks today combined for 12 of 23, 107 yards, and an interception. Doesn't bode well.
No, and I think the fact you go to all three guys says you're not settled on anyone.
All right, Joe. Our NFL on NBC halftime activities continue in just a moment.
Day in San Diego, where the Chargers at halftime have a 13-7 lead over the Seattle Seahawks. 2 second-quarter field goals for John Carney, the second of which, incidentally, 53 yards. Not his career longest. He's had 3 54-yarders, so a yard off.
Yeah, he came up here
career
to tell
best.
us that.
Well, let's take a look at the Coors Light halftime stats, Fabulous Bobby G, and you see the professionalism of the San Diego Chargers.
Without a doubt. You're seeing which team has a rhythm going, as I've said before. You look at San Diego with 17 first downs, and they've got the pass game going. They've got 76 yards in rushing. They have just taken to this game, the first game, like they've done it before, which they have.
And on the field, the Chargers, John Carney preparing to kick it away as you look at a very poised Stan Humphries along the sideline. Quarterback comparison in the first half, and Humphries used Tony Martin to tremendous advantage, working him over and over en route to 15 of 26 for 141 yards, less than 10 yards per completion. They're under control. Rick Meyer, 10 of 16 for 89 yards, also had 39 yards rushing, a 33-yard run for a first down, and a 6-yard touchdown run. So Meyer didn't have a bad half. There was just a lot more of Humphries in the statistical column because San Diego had the ball with their controlled, possession-oriented offense. Carney to kick it away. Steve Broussard is deep for the Seahawks. He takes it at about the 2-yard line, and Broussard, not seeing any action so far from scrimmage today, is across the 20 to the 22 with flags down.
Well, right now it looks like wherever they mark it, Kevin Ross has talked the referees into a penalty, saying that Max Strong may have illegally blocked him.
Max Strong didn't touch the ball from scrimmage in the first half.
Holding number 38 on the receiving team, half the distance to the goal. Holding number 38 receiving team, half the distance to the goal. First down.
An admirable performance by the veteran Kevin Ross to let the referees know, not to tell them what to do, but to sometimes help them in getting doing their job a little bit better.
Allow me to help you with this holding call against Max Strong. I'm not doing this because it will benefit my team, but only because I believe in the integrity of the game, right?
Well said.
That's what I thought. So Meyer and the Seahawks have to start from their 9-yard line. And the give on first down is to Chris Warren, and Warren gets it out to about the 15. It'll be second down 4. Rodney Harrison makes the stop for San Diego along with Kurt Gouveia. There's Harrison, number 37. He had 2 picks against Meyer and the Seahawks on this field a year ago, and his potential as a ball hawk was one of the reasons why the Chargers elected to change both safeties for the 3rd year in a row. Second down 4 for the Seahawks. Strong lead block in front of Warren as Warren piles forward, looking to move the chain, gets it to about the 18-yard line. Reuben Davis there to help wrap him up for San Diego.
Well, if the Seahawks are smart, at halftime they went in and said, you know what, let's put that first half behind us. We didn't get anything really going. We found some strengths. We found some things we need to work on. Let's start our game plan from scratch. Let's go out there. Let's let the guy who was one of our power people, Chris Warren, that's going to get us some yardage, let's put him to work. See if he can soften up the defense a little bit, and then go from there.
And how's this for a tribute to the leg drive of Warren? He's going against Reuben Davis and Sean Lee, 2 of the best run-stopping defensive tackles in the league. He gets hit near the line of scrimmage and ultimately grinds it forward 4 yards for a first down.
Well, let's put it this way. If he hit him straight on, there would have been no grinding except Chris Warren's helmet against the infield. But he has that ability to make you miss straight on, just to turn the shoulders enough to allow him to keep the forward momentum going.
Warren in his 7th year now out of Ferrum College in Virginia, 6'2", 228 pounds. Meyer gets away from the rush, flag down, flips it out of bounds. Sean Lee was the man with pressure up the middle along with Davis, and you wait now to see if another holding call is in the offing against the Hawks.
As in like Derek Graham?
Yep. Derek
Graham, who pretty much pulled Sean Lee down to the ground. And as a matter of fact, after Sean
holding,
got past him.
Number 77, offense. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
After Sean got past him, Derek Graham just kind of stood there. You can see Lee right there working against Graham. And he just kind of like pulls him down from behind.
That was a light one.
Well, no, now you guys are seeing the tail end of it. Early in the play, he was all over him.
All right.
Come on. Tell me this is coming from an ex-lineman.
You're calling me you guys. Are there several of me here?
I'm getting mixed reactions from everybody around here.
Oh, you're talking about those folks in the truck. They're called producers. So it's first down after the holding call. Meyer very deep. Oh! Loose football for a second, in and out of the hands of number 88, Ricky Proehl. But Junior Seau and Rodney Harrison have to settle for the tackle rather than the pickoff as Proehl reeled it back in.
Well, I tell you what, talk about the timing pattern. Rick Meyer let that pass go. I don't think Proehl expected to be one of the receivers there. He's going to turn. That ball's going to be there right as he turns his head. And good concentration. At least he had a little cushion to make that second grab for it. But you talked about the ball hawking of Rodney Harrison all the way over there to make a nice play.
Second down 16, ball at or second down 13 with the football at the 16. Need to get it to the 29 for a first down. Meyer throws in the flat. Complete to Blades. And Kevin Ross makes the stop from his free safety position. Ross, for a long time, one of the league's better cornerbacks with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Atlanta Falcons, and now he comes here to play free safety, and Coach Bobby Ross says that gives us another coverage guy when we're in the nickel or the dime.
And they said he's a no-nonsense guy that likes to hit. Remember, they expected Kevin Ross and Darryl Talley to be leaders down in Atlanta, and it actually turned out to be the other way. They became kind of a distraction, so they were looking to get him out, but they just say he's got a whole new attitude and wants to come out and start hitting people again.
Third down 8. Football at the 21-yard line. Blades in motion. Meyer throws underneath, complete to Proehl, and Proehl fights for first down yardage at the 30, and I believe he's got it before Dwayne Harper and Kevin Ross made the stop.
Right down there, Proehl works his way, a nice little turn-in right in the middle. He gets himself between the coverage guys. But you know what? Rick Meyer is starting, looks like he's settling down a little bit. He's had to do a lot of work in that same area. It seems like he's been between the 15 and the 30-yard line for the last 10 minutes because of the penalties.
That was the kind of timing throw that Meyer had trouble making effectively a year ago.
Exactly.
13 of 19 here, 110 yards, playing under control. Football at the 31. Meyer throws to Max Strong, and Strong makes his first catch of the day. The new starting fullback getting past Junior Seau for a gain of about 8. It'll be second down 2.
And great job, because, you know, Junior Seau is a guy that likes to move around. As a defensive player, they're going to try him in different spots. Sometimes it may get him out of position. Max Strong, they like him because he's got the quickness to break out and find himself some open space in the pattern. Something they felt that Steve Smith, who they had last year, who could catch, but didn't have as much quickness to get out in the open field.
They give up a little blocking without Smith back there, but Strong can do so many more things. On second down short, the give is to Warren. Warren is tripped up by Reuben Davis and falls forward for a couple before Rodney Harrison applies the clincher. Needed to get the football to about the 40 for a first down.
And good thing for Rodney Harrison, because they were bringing a couple of the backers on that play. Had he been able to pierce that, the last line, he got past the linebackers because of the blitz. The last line of defense was Rodney Harrison.
Now Perella comes on to replace Reuben Davis as Davis leaves the field shaking a finger after that shoestring tackle. On 3rd and 1, Warren looks for the opening and finds it and gets a first down for Seattle across the 40 to about the 42. Marco Coleman, Kurt Gouveia making the stop. The Seahawks have reacted well to the 2 holding penalties that could have blunted this possession. They've overcome that.
We've seen it happen, and we saw it happen a little bit in the first half. They get a call against them. They sit back, and all of a sudden it seems to take the wind out of the sails, to steal a cliche. But here they kept concentrating. They played in the same infield area for a while, and now have started moving the ball.
Still in Seahawk territory at the 42. Meyer looking deep for Galloway. And it's almost picked off in and out of the hands of Dwayne Harper. And Rodney Harrison and Harper celebrate, but Galloway had a shot at the football too.
And we wondered when this was going to happen. We just figured it was a matter of time before they started taking Joey Galloway and open him up. We saw one pass thrown in the first half to him, and this one right down the field. Dwayne Harper staying with him, and as you said before, the ball hawking Rodney Harrison, ever present to get over there and continue to finish up the play on Joey Galloway.
Harper, one of the better corners ever with the Seahawks, and when first he ccame over to San Diego 2 years ago. Made a lot of big plays against the Seahawks when the two teams met. Warren, I talked about the leg drive. Perella wraps himself around Warren and takes a good long ride as Chris goes for about 4.
You're exactly right. But they're starting to get this running game established a little bit. The first half, really bad. As you see the numbers there, Rick Meyer with that nice scramble in the first half, pretty much adding to his numbers. But now Chris Warren's starting to get getting the swing of things a little bit. And sometimes watching him run, you wonder how he gets the yardage.
Warren's the kind of guy you don't notice him much. You look around in the late third quarter, he's got 70 yards, and you say, wait a minute, how did he do that? Here's Lamar Smith with the football, and Smith's first carry of 1996 is worth a couple before Rodney Harrison makes the stop. It'll be third down short, or check it, fourth down and short. Fourth down and short for Seattle as they went with the running play on third down 5 and came up short of the chain.
Well, nothing against John Perella, but 2 plays he had an opportunity there to make a play. The first one he gets dragged by Chris Warren. That one he gets a hand on Smith, and Smith is able to break that tackle too.
Darren Gordon had a 21-yard punt return last time around. He waits at the 10-yard line. Tootin with the low snap gets it away. Gordon with plenty of time from his 15 gets outside again. Same side of the Seattle coverage breaking down, and this time it's a 37-yard punt, a 28-yard return for Darren Gordon. And the Chargers will have good field position when we come back. As we bring it back to San Diego, the bad news on the Seattle sideline is an apparent injury to punter Rick Tootin, who had to get involved in the tackling effort against Darren Gordon as Gordon was completing that 28-yard punt return moments ago. We'll take a look at what happened to Tootin as the Chargers begin this possession from their 40-yard line, leading 13-7, 8:21 to go in the third. Humphries, plenty of time, flips it to Leonard Russell, and Russell fights for yardage before Robert Blackman leads a gang of Seattle tacklers against him. And let's take another look now, Bob Golick, at what happened to Tootin on the punt return.
Now you're going to see Rick Tootin right there as he starts to pursue to chase Darren Gordon as he's breaking loose. Now right here, let's freeze it. You're going to see right here his leg is going to whip up against his own player, which looked like it was probably what caused the injury. And he stayed down for quite a while after that play.
It was Ronnie Harris who was flipping over the top of Tootin there along the sideline, number 81, and Tootin appeared to me, Bob, to twist the right knee. Flag down as Humphries throws on second down and hits Tony Martin for short yardage. Good enough for a first down if, in fact, the penalty is against Seattle.
Well, regardless of what the Seattle Seahawks did in the last drive, Stan Humphries is just ignoring it. He's just coming out and doing what he's been doing so well this game.
Offense. 5-yard penalty.
Illegal motion against
Second
Andre
down.
Coleman, the third-year wide receiver kick returner out of Kansas State. So that will nullify the first down gain on the pass from Humphries to Martin. And it will be second down at the 39, 11 yards to go for a first down. Terrell Fletcher, number 41 in the game at tailback for San Diego. Fletcher got off to a hot start here today. Since then, Aaron Hayden has come on. And a perfect throw. Andre Coleman with the 23-yard catch from Humphries.
Running right down the sideline with Corey Harris. And Corey Harris, I think, wasn't even expecting the ball to be thrown. He had him covered so closely. Look at how close these two guys are. Just a little bit of separation. Corey Harris just going to make that play on the ball, but beautiful throw over the shoulder of Andre Coleman.
And a 23-yard gain from Humphries to Coleman. Now Coleman on the sideline. Leonard Russell back in the game at tailback for San Diego. Chargers, as you know, possessed the football for more than 17 minutes in the first half. Try to mount another sustained drive here. Russell with the leg drive to keep fighting forward, and he'll wind up with a gain of about 8 yards on first down.
And nice blocking up front. Shannon Mitchell, who's been making some catches for the Chargers, with a nice block here to open it up for Leonard Russell.
6 carries for 21 yards for Russell. They've also gotten a contribution from Aaron Hayden. They've gotten a contribution from Fletcher as well. Go, Bob.
Right there, you see he came in motion and came back and made a nice block on the defender.
Russell again. First down yardage inside the 25 to about the 23-yard line. Dean Wells and Michael Barber there to make the stop for the Seahawks.
You know what, Jim? They really have done a nice job offensively, strategy-wise, with Terrell Davis, with Aaron Hayden, kind of doing with the cutting and the juking. They have really frozen the linebackers. The linebackers aren't attacking. They're sitting back. They're afraid to commit to a hole because they're afraid that the running back won't be there. Well, now that they've got him sitting back and waiting, now they're throwing Leonard Russell up against him and just beating the tar out of him.
Ralph Friedkin, the Chargers offensive coordinator, from upstairs, getting comfortable in the running game. This time goes with 3 tight ends on the football field and Leonard Russell. And Russell keeps the clock moving as he is tackled inbounds, falling forward for a gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd down 7. Football is just inside the 20-yard line, and now Hayden comes onto the field to replace Russell.
And I tell you, great utilization of these different styles of running back. The Hayden back off again, but great utilization of different styles of running. As a defensive player, you have to be able to make the adjustment for who's in there.
This time it'll be Fletcher at tailback. Chargers shift out of the H-back formation. Go to 3 wide. Humphreys throws on the short side, complete to Coleman. And Coleman is starting to work real well against Corey Harris, the right side corner for the Seahawks.
And I think Corey Harris is noticing that too, because the little contact there at the end, the tackle was a little bit violent. The way I think that Corey wants to try and send a message to Coleman saying, you know what,
enough of this.
You've caught enough passes, leave me alone or I'm going to make you pay for it. Watch it here, you're going to see Coleman just a quick turn, breaks to the outside. Boom! Nice shot.
Harris is pretty sturdy for a corner at 201 pounds. The give on first down is to Aaron Hayden. Hayden in the game at tailback this time and fights inside the 10 to about the 8. Cortez Kennedy makes the stop for Seattle.
Well, surprising, you know, we talked going into this game with the injuries to the Chargers offensive line that maybe they'd be a little light, at least in depth, and wouldn't be able to sustain a running game for the duration of the game, especially with the strength of guys like Cortez Kennedy inside. But their strategy is really paying off. They're running well.
Numbers on the drive so far, 7 plays, 52 yards. Chargers again with 3 tight end H-back types on the field. Give is to Hayden, and Hayden has yardage inside the 5 to about the 4.5-yard line. Need to get it to the 3 for another first down, so it will be 3rd down short for San Diego.
Jim, I've been in this situation before. As a defensive player, it's 93 degrees. It's not optimum weather for this kind of game. You're sweating, you're tired, the drive's been going on, and pretty much everything they've thrown at you, whether it be short pass, intermediate pass, long pass, run game, is all work, and you're just sitting back going, when is somebody going to make a big play?
Chargers with all 4 tight end H-backs on the field now in front of Leonard Russell, and the 240-pound Russell tries to fall forward toward the marker. Wells and Barber again both there to make the stop for Seattle. Short of the first down. Crowd wants Bobby Ross to go for it on 4th and tiny, but Ross says, wait a minute, I've got a 13-7 margin now. I can make it more than a touchdown with another Kearney field goal. That's the direction in which we'll go.
Plus, if you give the Seahawks a chance to stop you and get a little bit of confidence, it might work to your disadvantage.
Kearney with a 35-yarder and a 53-yarder in the closing minutes of the first half. Now adds a 22-yarder to begin the 3rd quarter. And so with 2:34 to go still in the 3rd quarter, the Chargers extend their lead over Seattle to 16-7, and we'll be back. Beautiful day in San Diego. Hey, if you've never been down here to San Diego County, you must come sometime. Go to the zoo, enjoy the spectacular weather, great restaurants in this town. I love it, Bob. We're coming back here next week. SeaWorld. John Kearney to kick the football away. San Diego just having picked up its 3rd field goal of the game to stretch its lead to 16-7 over Seattle. Kick is out of bounds.
Free kick out of bounds. First down on the 40-yard line by Rule.
And we'll bring you back to San Diego for more of this opening NFL game right after this.
You're watching the NFL on NBC.
We are back in San Diego with the Chargers in control of the football game, leading 16-7, and Rick Tootin stretching on the Seattle sideline. Of course, we'll have to await a Seattle punt situation to find out whether Rick is going to be able to come back on the field and kick. The original diagnosis, we're told, is a twisted left knee, not the right knee. So that's the plant leg, not the kicking leg. And I'm not sure which would be worse. On first down, Meyer throws in the flat to Chris Warren. And Warren is met by Dwayne Harper. Gain of only a couple. It'll be second down 8.
Well, they know who butters the bread. It's Chris Warren, and they got to get him out there, whether it be out of the backfield in the run game or whether it's a short pass, because he does both equally well.
No catches so far for number 85, Mike Pritchard, picked up in the offseason to add some electricity to the Seattle pass attack. Meyer's numbers demonstrating the degree to which San Diego has kept the Seahawk attack contained. No interception so far from Meyer. That's the improvement over last year. This pass too high for Crumpler. It'll be third down long. Eric Castle on the coverage for the Chargers.
And I'll tell you what, you got to credit that one to Rayleigh Johnson, who had a great preseason. He is somebody that really came on. You're going to see him right here at the bottom side of your screen coming in. He stayed on the backside, didn't allow that bootleg, didn't allow Meyer to get outside in the bootleg, and because he got the hands up in his face, Meyer had to lay that ball up a little high.
Third down 8. We're one play away from finding out whether Tootin can punt the ball. Crumpler in motion. Now just finds a flat spot. Meyer throws complete. And complete for first down yardage to Pritchard. I've been looking for that first Pritchard catch, and there it is for 11 yards in front of Terrence Shaw.
Now they got to start mixing it up. We talked about this earlier. They've got so much talent in the wide receiving score now. I mean, obviously last year Joey Galloway and Brian Blades, but now you've got Prohl going at it. You've got him working in. You've got Pritchard with his numbers. I mean, just doing watch. He's just going to go out, make a nice move, and just to have a nice comeback after he gets a push off. He knows where the first down marker was.
In fact, because of the special teams play of James McKnight and Ronnie Harris, the Seahawks have 6 wide receivers on the roster. Blades in motion behind Meyer. Meyer throws complete. And it is Glenn Young making the stop on Christian Fauria. Fauria, number 86, last year's rookie tight end star. After missing most of the preseason with an injury, has his first catch of the day.
And this is what the good thing about Seattle right now. They're doing what San Diego has been doing the last couple of series. They're mixing it up. They've got Chris Warren going in the pass game, the run game. So now they've got to start mixing in the other talent. You can't. It does you no good to have that talent if you're not getting the ball to him.
Well, and if they want to pop Galloway deep at some point, this is the way to set it up.
Without a doubt.
Second down, 4 to go with the football at the 42. Meyer appearing to check off there. And he throws an interception. 20 picks a year ago. This is the first one of 1996. Terrence Shaw running it back. And Shaw is knocked down at midfield by number 77, Derek Graham. Shoestring tackle, and Graham appeared to hurt his hand on the play.
You know, when you brought up Joey Galloway, in order to set up the long pass, you've got to start throwing some short ones to Galloway. And they try and do it here. Galloway, when he runs the slant coming in, watch him here in the top. He's going to come in and he's going to stop.
We'll be back. As we come back to San Diego on first down following the interception, Stan Humphries completes a pass in the flat to Alfred Papunu for a gain of about 8 yards.
And as I said, beautiful throw here. Papunu has been a guy who they just really involved in the passing game, and that's a nice break, short break to the outside. Beautiful catch and throw.
Carlton Gray with the stop. A lot happened on Rick Meyer's first interception throw of the season. It appeared that Derek Graham may have injured a hand in making the tackle against interceptor Terrence Shaw. And it also appeared that Joey Galloway may have gotten busted and suffered at least some dizziness. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station at the end of 3. It's 16-7 San Diego.
Use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the NFL is prohibited.
Once again, we bring you back to San Diego, and again, Stan Humphries has the Chargers in action already as Aaron Hayden takes the handoff and looks for first down yardage and appeared to reach the chain, so make it a first down for San Diego in Seattle territory as the Chargers try to extend what is already a 16-7 lead, fashioned on a first period touchdown pass from Humphries to Tony Martin, and then 3 John Carney field goals since then. Hayden still in the game at tailback behind Humphries. Coleman in motion behind the quarterback. Oh! And this time an excellent hit against the receiver. Alfred Papuno, the intended receiver. Darrell Williams, fifth-year free safety out of Miami. Free agent from Cincinnati this year. Used to play for Dennis Erickson in college and made a play for him here.
Now watch us coming in from the left here. Beautiful timing on this pattern as Papuno's trying to pull that in, but I think he sensed that Darrell Williams was coming. Darrell's big enough where you can kind of feel the air currents change around you.
Unrestricted free agent from Cincinnati. 202 pounds worth of explosive hitting power on that play. Humphries gets away from the rush and misses down the middle, trying to get it to Coleman. Dean Wells was the man who came in with a clean shot at Humphries before the quarterback released.
And we talked about Humphries' poise before. Even under that rush, Dean Wells coming in. All Stan Humphries did was to take one step up into the pocket and release the ball.
Kind of quarterback that guys love to play with. Unruffled.
He doesn't get mad at you as an offensive lineman if you get sacked once in a while.
Which is not to say that he's tremendously
thrilled about it.
Fletcher in the game at tailback. Humphries gets away from a rush. This time goes past the line of scrimmage. Fumbles as he hits the ground.
They're saying it's down, though.
And Sinclair won't get credit for forcing the fumble, only for the tackle. And Humphries was short of first down yardage.
Well, Seattle's, you got to give them credit. They have had enough sitting back. And they're going to watch here at the end. Sinclair makes a play on the ball. The knee is down yet.
Knee's down yet.
Yeah, so anything after that is irrelevant. But, you know, you got to give Seattle credit. They are getting aggressive instead of sitting back and letting San Diego do what they want at them. They're getting aggressive and going after them.
And Carney, who hit a 53-yarder going in the other direction, will now try a 50-yarder. And John Carney's having a big day. Fourth field goal of the day for Carney. San Diego stretches its lead to 19-7. Today, as you know, the MetLife Blimp is cruising the skies above San Diego, California. Powered by twin engines that are capable of reaching speeds greater than 57 miles per hour, such as, for instance, 58 or 59. Snoopy 2 can navigate at altitudes in excess of 6,000 feet. What do they mean? Speeds greater than 57 miles per hour, like 57 and a half?
And in excess of 6,000 feet, as in 6,100.
John Carney has 4 field goals today, including one from 53 just before the half and one from 50 moments ago. Deep kickoff here, taken by Steve Broussard at the goal line. Broussard looking for it, loses the football, and San Diego recovers. Big play by the Chargers. Number 88, Deems May, is the man who falls on the football in the open field, and Rodney Harrison was the guy who knocked it loose.
Well, they made that move. They got Rodney Harrison. He is paying off in all aspects. Right there, you saw the hit, and get the helmet on the ball to knock it loose.
Broussard is wondering how this happened. It was his blocker who knocked it out. The blocker knocked the ball loose, and May got it for San Diego. We'll be back.
The NFL on NBC is brought to you by Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride. By the U.S. Army. Be a part of the toughest, smartest Army in the world. Be all you can be. By the new Coors Light.
It's been a typical Bobby Ross kind of a San Diego Charger game. Chargers with a workmanlike, relatively unspectacular effort are leading the Seattle Seahawks 19-7, and after a fumble recovery on the kickoff fumbled by Steve Broussard, the Chargers look to put this one away. And you see the difference in field position as the Chargers' average second-half drive starts in Seattle territory, and Seattle has been relatively deep most of the time. Second down, 7 yards to go, football at the 14-yard line. San Diego already up 19-7. Humphries, Martin, almost another touchdown.
Well, Corey Harris, as we said before, this matchup has been going on for a while today. Corey Harris played that one very well. Veteran, been around for 5 years, and having been a receiver at once in his life, he kind of knows what the wide receiver. Watch him here. He's watching the hands when he sees that ball come in. Look at the awareness of getting that right hand in and knock that ball out. Great awareness by Corey Harris.
Corey Harris a year ago had trouble against post corner patterns. Still gets beat behind him every once in a while, and that's why he's perfected that technique of reaching for the ball. And now, on 3rd down 7, the Chargers want a little more time to figure out exactly what choice to make here. 12:45 to go in the football game. We'll be back. No dark skies in San Diego except for the Seattle Seahawks. Humphries on 3rd down. Throws complete to Tony Martin, and Martin appears to me to be maybe a half yard short of a first down, or maybe he got there.
It wasn't from lack of crawling. He got a little crawl going there to try and pick it up. I think he might have picked it up.
Jerry Markwright's crew about to determine, in all probability, whether John Carney will come on for another field goal try or whether the Chargers will be alive in a bid for a possible touchdown here.
This is a chip shot for Carney.
You want to see the crawl, Bob?
Yeah, right there. Watch the hits. Yes, a little bit. Get that arm going. See, trying to get that ball up there. Just coming loose. He's trying to get it up before somebody touched him.
Ball to within a half yard of the first down, but not quite all the way there.
That crawl was pathetic. Now that I look at that again.
Now a field goal makes it 22-7. But Ross, for the moment, isn't opting for that. He's deciding that the chance to get it to 26-7 is just too delectable at this point. So he's going to bring on all 4 of the tight end and H-back types. Deems May, Walter Reeves, Alfred Pupunu, and Shannon Mitchell, all in the football game, along with the 240-pound blockbuster running back, Leonard Russell.
Think they got enough beef? They'll probably pull some kind of trick play.
Well, you know, if they're setting up a deception, they've done a good job of it, but instead they do the obvious.
And that's how you run a quarterback sneak.
And that's how you preserve a chance at a 26-7 lead. First down, San Diego, goal to go. And there's the young man who inadvertently caused his teammate Steve Broussard to cough the football up on the kickoff. That's what set all this up. It was T.J. Cunningham who, when running by Broussard, bumped the return man's left arm, popped the football out, and then Deems May fell on it for the Chargers. And here, Leonard Russell is all the way down to the goal line and has a touchdown. 6-yard run, Russell's first touchdown as a Charger. T.J. Cunningham has a long ride back to Seattle on the plane in all likelihood. And the Seahawks are deeply in trouble now with 11:39 to go and needing 3 touchdowns to come back in the ball game.
And there's no pussyfooting around for Leonard Russell on this one. He sees that gap. He's going for it, whether it be through it or over the top, and he does it all to get in.
Leonard Russell couldn't pussyfoot if he put on a silk cat suit. I mean, come on. He's a blunderbuss. They gave away yellow T-shirts today, and a knucklehead in a yellow T-shirt has decided that this is his moment to run up the middle of the field.
trying to get into the Charger catalog, I would imagine.
I think what he's going to get into is the San Diego jail. Meanwhile, there's Leonard Russell on the sideline.
You know what? Getting back to T.J. Cunningham, though, as bad as he probably feels, when the coaches go back and they look at that, here's a guy who, he didn't make a mistake mentally. He made a mistake that was aggressive. If you're trying to do something, you're trying to be aggressive, they'll forgive those.
I'm not even sure you can call it a mistake. I mean, he inadvertently bumped into Broussard. Carney adds the extra point. It is 26-7 San Diego with 11:39 to go, and we'll be back. Meanwhile, in the sports world of San Diego, nothing is more sacred than the Chargers, and right now, Bobby Ross's team has a 26-7 lead over the disappointed Seattle Seahawks. Still just a little bit less than 12 minutes to go. Here's Steve Broussard with another kickoff return. This time Broussard stops in his own tracks, looking for running room, and is easily brought down by Patrick Sapp and Dwayne Gordon at the 16-yard line. No, make it back at the 12-yard line. Long way to go for Seattle. Well, tonight, it's an all-new Dateline Sunday on NBC. Then it's must-see TV with Third Rock from the Sun and Boston Common in their new Sunday night slots. That's tonight on NBC, Dateline, Third Rock, Boston Common. You're a Third Rock kind of a guy.
I am going to make it back in time for Third Rock if I have to go up there and urge the pilot on myself. John Lithgow rules. Evil Dick.
Evil Dick. Fascinating. On first down, Meyer throws into the arms of Junior Seau. No, it's Glenn Young. And Young, number 59, brings the easy interception back to the 12-yard line, where it'll be first down San Diego, and Dennis Erickson says, I don't believe it. We looked good enough in preseason to come in here with high hopes, and now this happens.
Exactly. They so want to watch that. Glenn Young throws up there just to knock the ball down, and it's tough. I mean, as a linebacker, you don't expect those things to stick a lot of times. You just got to go up and knock it down. And Glenn Young has just had a great day today.
Pretty good tackle by Chris Warren. And
look at the frustration. Wow. And you're right. You know, last year, Jim, the end of the season, how they ended it up, I think going into the offseason feeling like that, these guys felt so good about themselves, and they carried it into the preseason games. And this is just a big blow, and you can kind of see it and some of the heads that are hanging out there on the field.
They played the entire first half without turning the football over, and now have turned it over 3 times in a row. 2 Meyer interceptions and the Broussard fumble. Russell back in the game. Coming off of his first Charger touchdown, Robert Blackman, the strong safety who never quits, is up to stop it at the line of scrimmage. It'll be second and long for San Diego. Chargers have pounded away at the Seahawks defense, incidentally, with a series of running backs. Hayden, 7 carries, 35 yards. Russell, 12 carries now, 42 yards. Fletcher, 6 carries, 34 yards. They've spread it around, kept their runners fresh, and beaten the Seahawks at the line of scrimmage.
And exactly. They have beaten them even with some injured offensive linemen.
On second down, Humphries looks in the end zone. Great catch by Shannon Mitchell. And they're going to rule him out of bounds. Well, they wanted players who'd catch the ball better than Dwayne Young, and they got him.
And they got him without a doubt. But he went up, and it was a great concentration. Watch him in the left side of your screen. He's going to go up, but he's going to turn around to get the ball. As he goes up, he does not come down. Right there, his feet were out of bounds as he came down. But great concentration. And even though at this point in the game it doesn't count for a touchdown for him, it certainly bodes well for the rest of the year.
3 wide receivers, Martin, Coleman, and Jones. Fletcher is the running back. Humphries looks in the end zone and overthrows Charlie Jones. So John Carney will now come on to try to add a field goal and stretch the lead to 29-7 with 10.5 minutes to go. Carney already with 4 field goals in the game, looking for a 5th.
Well, I talked to him yesterday, and we talked a little bit about all the veterans, the Butlers, Kevin Butlers and Matt Barrs, all the guys that have been as kickers released because of a lot of the big salaries. So he says that he wanted to be particularly good today to try and make sure he stayed on track.
Do you think the salary cap is inordinately unkind to veteran players? 31-yard attempt here. Good. Bob Golick's answer about the salary cap and its effect on veteran players still coming in this telecast as the Chargers stretch their lead to 29-7. Bob, do you think that the salary cap has been inordinately unkind to veteran players?
Don't get me started, Jim.
As a former union member.
Yeah. You know, it comes down to this. Free agency was something that the union said we wanted. And I think players could have accepted free agency had there not been a cap. What the cap has done, it has given the rookies coming in, the guys who have not played it down, big contracts. It has given superstars the ability to move around year after year so you can't even follow a guy to your favorite team anymore and make tons of money. And then the guy, the hard-working guy, the solid backups that have been around for 5, 6, 7 years, starting to make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, which is compared to these big multi-million-dollar contracts is minimal. These are the guys that are being told by the coaches, hey, you know, would you take a pay cut? Because if you don't, we're going to have to let you go. And if you look at your team now and you say, why don't we have any depth? Why don't we have any good veterans to step in when guys get injured? Well, thank you, Gene Upshaw.
It's because of Caponomics, which you blame on the union, not on management.
Well, I mean, obviously it was a negotiated deal, but I think that the union was pressing hard for free agency, and it just seemed to me that free agency was going to be achieved regardless of what had to be given up. And it has become too costly for a lot of veteran players.
League somewhat South Americanized. Bigger gap than ever between rich and poor. Carney's kick is going to be downed in the end zone by Broussard and the Hawks. And so Seattle will start from its 20. Score is now 29-7. Things have fallen apart for Rick Mirer and the Seahawks in the second half. Ironically, of course, Meyer's backup is the former San Diego Chargers starter, John Freese. You asked yesterday, what would it take to get Freese into the football game?
And, well, they actually had responded in injury because they wanted to be committed to Rick Mirer. But I'm telling you what, in watching the fan response and hearing some of the newspaper people in Seattle, there is a push for maybe John Freese to step in and take control of the team.
Freese helped to fuel the second half charge last year that saw the Seahawks win 6 of their last 8. Now Mirer on first down, pulls it down, falls forward for a yard in Seau's grasp, and a flag goes down.
And not to say that they don't want to give Rick Mirer an opportunity, but John Freese has proven himself to be a pretty good...
Number 52 offense, 10-yard penalty.
He's been a good backup. He's got a lot of experience, and I think that a lot of people, especially as we take a look at him, I think a lot of people in Seattle especially are a little tired of waiting.
And there's a look at Freese along the sideline, helmet on, but not yet in the football game. Holding call against Kevin Mawai doesn't make things any easier for Mirer now, as he has to operate on first down, 20 yards to go from his own 10-yard line. Seahawks no longer have time to invest in the Chris Warren-led running game. Mirer gets away from pressure and finds some room up the sideline, runs across the 20. Now they're going to say he stepped out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Ray Lee Johnson was the man who chased Mirer out of bounds.
And, you know, the history of John Freese is kind of tainted here in San Diego.
During the third week of the preseason in 1992, would-be starter John Freese was lost for the season after he injured his knee on that play. With Freese out, Stan Humphries took over as the Chargers starting quarterback. Freese would play one more season in San Diego before leaving for the Redskins, ultimately ending up in Seattle in 1995. Mirer throws across the middle to Galloway, and Galloway, who has already been belted once today, almost takes another hit and turns to the officials as if to say, wait a minute, are you going to protect me here or what? They're going to call it incomplete on the throw to Galloway. Second half possessions for the Seahawks so far, big disappointments.
Without a doubt. You know, you've got to get down and you've at least got to put some points on the board. Punt, and then you start doing the interceptions after that. One thing we saw in Rick Mirer in the first half, no interceptions, no turnovers. We took that as a big positive. 2 here in the second half.
Including the first of the career of Glenn Young, linebacker. Now they get Galloway deep. And Galloway trying to run away from Rodney Harrison, and Harrison makes the touchdown-saving tackle at the 21-yard line. Good play by Harrison. Not a lot of people would grab Galloway, even with that angle. 50-yard completion from Meyer to Galloway.
John, I'm going to tell you what, with all the other stuff that has gone on today, this is one of the prettiest things you can see. We saw it last year. We see it this year. Joey Galloway, just a nice stride in that throw. Beautiful throw, right in stride to him. And like I said, the good thing Harrison had that angle, or there was no way he was going to be able to catch up to Joey Galloway.
So Galloway sets the Seahawks up with a scoring possibility. Meyer's throw is in and out of the hands of Mike Pritchard at the 15-yard line. It'll be second down 10.
One of the things that they talked about with Rick Meyer coming in this year is they feel that last year he was trying to force things. You know, he wasn't reading quick enough, and so when the reads were coming slow, he'd all of a sudden he'd see a guy come open and he'd try and force the ball. So his throws were not relaxed. His throws were not smooth, and I think we're still just starting to see some of this with some kind of off-center throws like that one to Pritchard.
Second down 10, football at the 21-yard line. 9 minutes, 1 second remaining. Seahawks not dead yet if they can get a touchdown on this possession. Throw is over the outstretched arms of McKnight. Terrence Shaw on the coverage for San Diego. Third down 10 coming up.
And a nice touch on the ball. That ball was just laid a little bit too far out of bounds.
4-down territory here, Bob, because a field goal doesn't do them much good at all.
Not at all. They got to go for it. They've got to kind of ride some of the momentum right now from Galloway's catch and stay with it. It's not going to be a ground game. They're not going to go to Warren unless they dump it to him out of the backfield.
And because you know they're going to go for it on fourth down, they have the luxury of looking for something underneath here.
And
Chargers blitz.
Junior Seau.
Junior gets through.
And that's the unfortunate situation, as you made mention. When you know they can't run, because the running does nothing for them, you know that the defense is going to line up and start throwing people at you. And watch Junior here. Look at the eyes. He has there's no decision in his mind. He's not thinking, well, should I run? Should I rush? Should I play the run? He was coming.
And finding himself with a little piece of jersey in his hands, Junior said, let's see what's attached to this jersey. Fourth down 10. Meyer still under center with Warren behind him. Blades coming back in motion. They get some time for Meyer. The throw intended for Blades is batted down by Willie Clark. Third-year cornerback out of Notre Dame, making the play that probably once and for all seals the fate of the Seattle Seahawks. It'll be San Diego ball with 8:47 to go when we come back. .847 to go in San Diego. Chargers, having exploded in the second half, lead the Seahawks 29-7 on first down. Running back Aaron Hayden, second year back out of Tennessee, has a gain of about 9. It'll be second and very short for the Chargers.
Winston Moss, Dean Wells making the stop there, but it's of no consequence at this point. It's just burning time. They have utilized their running attack so well between Aaron Hayden, Terrell Fletcher, and Leonard Russell that they just have this defense kind of on their heels, and you can tell they're worn out.
Interesting to see if Hayden gets to start next week against the Cincinnati Bengals. Leonard Russell got the call to start today. Here's Hayden again, and Hayden showing you that Chris Warren-style leg drive. Falls forward to about the 34 to create the space for a San Diego first down before Robert Blackman and Winston Moss made the stop.
Well, defensively, you know, they have got to, there's not much more they can do. They've got to be able to react to the different styles of running. They can't play on their heels when they have the Fletchers, when they have the Aaron Haydens. But they also have to rely on the offense to eat up some time so the defense isn't on the field the whole time.
First and 10, San Diego. Humphreys gives to Hayden again. Third straight carry for Hayden, and he's starting to get it in gear. 6-yard pickup here. It'll be second down and 4. Dean Wells, Winston Moss, both there to make the tackle again. Hayden, 11 carries for 59 yards. He said to us yesterday, I have a big ego. I think a lot of myself. I think I should have been the starting guy. I think they're trying to light a fire under me by starting Leonard instead.
Exactly. But you know what? All professional athletes have this ego. They have the big ego. In order to be successful, you have to have it. You've got to believe when you line up on that field that that guy that you're looking across the field at, you got to believe you're better than him. You can beat him on every single play.
Russell now with the ball, and that's the 13th carry of the game for Russell. 13 carries, 46 yards, and as for his role in this running back situation, he seemed to say, hey, wait a minute, why would I not be the starter?
Yeah.
I had a good preseason. I'm the one with the veteran experience.
Yep.
I don't understand what the question is.
Without a doubt. And his whole attitude was kind of like, well, you know, well, whatever happens, you know, I'm here, I worked hard, I did the training camp thing, and I'm ready to go. Now, it was interesting, as you see Leonard Russell's numbers, 13 for 47. As Hayden came off the field, Russell goes on. They're just kind of like tagging each other. It just looks like they're kind of like professional wrestling, like they're tag teaming these guys.
6 or 7 yard gain for Hayden here. Dean Wells padding his tackle totals as we go along. Flag down on the field.
It's just between the two of these guys and Terrell Fletcher thrown in, they're just wearing them out. I mean,
and you get a sense of why the Chargers felt comfortable letting Natron go.
Number 70, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Third-year tackle Vaughn Parker, second-round draft choice out of UCLA in 1994. They're happy that he has won the starting job on the right side at tackle, although he's still being pushed by second-year man Troy Sienkiewicz out of New Mexico State. Looks like a typical Bobby Ross Charger entry. Nothing terribly spectacular, but totally competent and professional all the way. On first down 20, Humphries throws behind Andre Coleman, and it'll be second down and long. Corey Harris on the coverage for Seattle. Down and long, Corey Harris on the coverage for Seattle.
And you made the comment about Natron being released. We talked before about Leslie O'Neal. We talked about Ronnie Harmon, and I think the layperson sat back and said, what's going on here? How can this team bring in some young guys like Hayden, like Russell, who, you know, who's been around, and rely on them when you had a proven commodity, and Terrell Fletcher, when you had a proven commodity in Natron? Well, they have definitely shown that right now.
Yeah, the guys who needed to step up today in the absence of Means and Harmon and Leslie O'Neal, guys like Terrell Fletcher and Aaron Hayden and Leonard Russell and Ray Lee Johnson, they've done it.
Well, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Fletcher was supposed to be the guy that was going to be the Ronnie Harmon style runner. But the difference here is Terrell Fletcher actually is running with the ball. The one knock was, why is Ronnie Harmon never carrying the ball? He was always the guy you dumped the pass to on third down.
Fletcher on the field now, along with Charlie Jones, number 17, and Tony Martin, number 81. On third down 20, they go with the draw to Fletcher, and this will help Terrell's running numbers as he gets out near midfield. Short of the first down, but a little extra breathing space for Darren Bennett and the San Diego punting unit on a 15-yard run for Fletcher. And with 5 minutes, 28 seconds to go, Bennett will come on to kick it away for the Chargers, and deep to receive for Seattle is Ronnie Harris, as at this point in the game, they elect not to risk the body of Joey Galloway. Competitively, the issue is no longer in doubt. Harris will watch a gigantic Bennett punt go beyond the end line. So it's a 50-yard punt for Bennett. Touchback. Football comes out to the 20. Seahawks will get another chance with the ball down 29-7. 5 minutes, 4 seconds to go.
Rick Myers still on the sideline talking to Erickson. So if any of you had any question why John Freese had his helmet on, Freese's helmet is off again.
Yeah, he's got the baseball cap back on.
And you know, and at this point, what is the difference? You know what I'm saying? Here it comes. You're not going to win.
Hey, let's welcome those of the audience who have been watching Miami's 24-10 victory over New England in Miami. Jimmy Johnson, a winner in his first game as the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. And here in San Diego, the Chargers lead 29-7. Meyer throws down the middle, complete to Brian Blades, and Blades has it across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. 22-yard completion. Eric Castle makes the stop for the Chargers. This game was 7-7 in the second quarter. Stan Humphries kept working the ball underneath, using a fleet of running backs to pound away at the Seahawks. They got 2 field goals from John Carney just before halftime to make it 13-7. And then as the Seahawks fell apart offensively in the second half and began to turn the football over, Rick Meyer produced 2 interceptions. Steve Broussard fumbled away a kickoff. The Chargers started piling up points. Carney has 5 field goals now. Humphries with a touchdown pass to Tony Martin. Leonard Russell with a touchdown run. And it has become 29-7 San Diego with less than 5 minutes to go. Sean Salisbury warming up on the San Diego sideline and apparently headed toward quarterbacking duties for the Chargers when they get the football back. 2nd and 6 here. Meyer throws intended for Galloway and overthrown onto the San Diego sideline. It's been a beautiful day in San Diego, and Bobby Ross's team, looking to go to the playoffs for a 4th time in 5 years, is off to a positive 1996 start.
I'll tell you what, and the story here today, as we went in, was these 2 quarterbacks. Stan Humphrey taking his team with some new players behind him, and also Rick Meyer with a great complement of talent on his offense. But how is he going to respond? Would he improve on the lackluster performance from last year? And, you know, at the risk of being too critical, at best it's been erratic. He's had a beautiful throw to Joey Galloway. He's had some nice throws to Carlister Crumpler in the short zone. You just saw a nice throw to Fourier. But a lot of other times, a lot of other throws are off-center. They're behind a player. They're over his head.
And the 2 interceptions were very damaging. Meyer's throw to Galloway. Galloway steps out of bounds in front of Wayne Harper. Seahawks trying to pick up a garbage time touchdown here. And we want to remind you, coming up this evening on NBC, Dateline Sunday. The president's top political advisor is caught in a sex scandal. Why did the story surface when it did? What's in those red-hot home movies? Watch Dateline NBC following the game on most of these NBC stations. Or later this evening, those of you in the West Coast time zone. 2nd down and short. Give to Chris Warren, and Warren can't find any running room and may still be short of the 1st down as Glenn Young and Eric Castle make the stop for San Diego.
I don't mean to be humored by that, but when you try it, you've been throwing the ball and you try and throw a run in, it's usually to kind of get the defensive lineman to relax a little bit, get some of the pressure off the pass rush. But this is not a time where you can do that. They're coming every play because they know you have to throw the ball.
Meyer throws for the 1st down to Fourier. Fourier falls in front of Young and then rolls all the way to the sideline in an attempt to get the clock stopped and gets it done. Junior Seau helping along with the push.
They pick up 5 yards.
Actually, Seau was in on top of Meyer, right? There you go. Just learning how to work with a new spotter this year. Kind of fun. 3.5 minutes to go. 1st and 10. Meyer gets away from pressure, finds Galloway, and it's a penalty flag. Galloway didn't get to the goal line, apparently.
Well, I think as it is, the referee that would have called the touchdown threw the flag, and he's running upfield. Must have seen something happening.
Illegal touching of a forward pass. The receiver went out of bounds and came in and caught the ball.
So Galloway was out of bounds.
Only. Incomplete. 2nd down.
That kind of a day for Dennis Erickson.
Well, here's Joey Galloway. We're against Terrence Shaw. Harry makes the break outside. He's going to turn it up now. Can't really see his feet.
Oh, there he was. He was out of bounds there, but he had contact from Shaw when he was. It's at the discretion of the official whether he was forced out or went out on his own.
Because if a player is forced out of bounds, he can come back in and be the first to touch.
But that ruling was that he was not forced out and went out on his own volition, and consequently, the gain was eliminated. And now as the football comes back to the 32-yard line, we get a San Diego timeout. a 32nd timeout, stopping the clock with 3 minutes, 22 seconds left to go.
Well, you know, the speculation about possibility of putting John Freese in, you shouldn't do that at this point. You've got Rick Mirer. You're trying to get him through some rough times easy. You know, you're supposed to get this guy's confidence back. Well, yeah, he's had a tough game so far, a couple of interceptions, but the reality is you can't just pull him when things get going bad. You've got to leave him in there and let him try and develop some character.
The fabulous Bobby G, as millions of you saw there on your screen, working with a new haircut this year. Over on the Seattle sideline, Dennis Erickson talking with John Freese and Rick Mirer as they discuss options for getting another offensive touchdown on the board before the end of the game. And another reminder of your NBC programming coming up tonight. Following the game on most of these stations, an all-new Dateline Sunday, touching on the presidential political scandal. Then it's must-see TV with Third Rock from the Sun and Boston Common in their new Sunday night slots. Viewers on the West Coast will see those shows at their regularly scheduled times. And let me alter that slightly. Let's call it, rather than a political scandal, a sexual scandal.
It happens during political times, which I think is the question we are asking.
Aren't they all? 2nd down 10. Mirer throws. Complete on the far side to Galloway. A couple yards short of a first down. Harper working against Galloway. And Joey stepped out of bounds to stop the clock with 3:17 remaining.
And Dwayne Harper very close to making a play on that. Mirer getting the ball off a little slowly to Galloway, but gets it off just in time to get it in before Harper can make the play. Well, the frustration level on the Seahawks team has got to be incredible now. They have been on, the defense has been on the field for a long time. The offense has been sporadic at best.
Blitz coming for San Diego. Mirer fumbles it forward. Chargers fighting for the ball, as are the Seahawks. Warren had a shot at it. Lewis Bush had a shot at it. They're going to rule it San Diego ball. Junior Seau made the hit.
But you know what? Before we go to Junior, John Perella started it all off with an incredible get off on the line of scrimmage. He's the first guy through. He gets up there, makes a hit. You also, these guys are just all over him.
Yep, there's
forcing him
Seau
up out of the
making the
puddle.
hit. And now there's Marco Coleman, and he says, I had it. Now Bush has it. Warren says, let me fight you for it, Lou.
Lou Bush.
But by that time, officials had already ruled in favor of possession by Lou Bush. Here's Junior. That's going to make it a 3-turnover day for Mirer. 2 interceptions, 1 fumble. Sean Salisbury comes on to quarterback the Chargers as Junior Seau looks at the big screen replay scoreboard to check his play out. Charlie Jones in motion. Freddie Bradley in the game at running back, and Bradley, with his first carry of the day, has about a 5-yard gain before the Seahawks wrestle him out of bounds to stop the clock with 3 minutes, 3 seconds left. Stan Humphries finishes the day 20 of 38 in the air, 194 yards, and a touchdown. Nothing spectacular, just another workmanlike, professional, winning effort from Humphries at quarterback.
Exactly. It's not like you're going to watch him and say, did he have the 450-yard throwing day? He doesn't need that. They have found out through training camp and today some great running backs that they can platoon through.
Freddie Bradley with his second carry. Bradley, a 208-pound rookie out of Sonoma State. 7th-round draft pick this year, and very interested in him, even though he's at a little bit of an elevated age for a rookie, right, Bob?
26? 25, 26 for a rookie. I guess he was kind of on a whole different time schedule than a lot of the other players.
Clock running now with 2:35 to go. Salisbury, San Diego hometown boy, and come back from tours of duty with the Vikings and other teams to become the backup quarterback to Humphries here. Good throw there, complete to tight end Deems May. And now the 2-minute warning coming as the Chargers play out the string with a 29-7 lead. So as we arrive at the 2-minute warning, the Chargers fully in command of the game. We'll be back to the NBC on NFL, the NFL on NBC. Spectacularly beautiful day in San Diego, which began with the temperature at 93 degrees, and maybe heat was a factor too. as the San Diego Chargers gradually wore down the Seahawks with physicality and efficiency. There's Bobby Beathard, general manager of the Chargers, roughly speaking the architect of the 70s Dolphins, the 80s Redskins, the 90s Chargers, and who can argue with his record of success?
And as he let go Natron Means, Leslie O'Neal, and Ronnie Harmon, people said, what's wrong with the architect? You know, they
lost it?
Exactly. A lot of people started to question it, but now they're not saying the same thing.
Well, at least today, it appears to have been an intelligent enough move. Freddie Bradley on first down, ripping up the middle for a pickup of 17 yards. And after having seen the performances of Aaron Hayden and Leonard Russell and Terrell Fletcher, you say, well, this team doesn't need a fourth running back, but lo and behold, they've got one. Here's a look at Rodney Culver. Everyone in the Chargers family will miss him. Rodney and his wife Karen killed in the May 11 crash of ValueJet Flight 592 in the Florida Everglades. Chargers wearing Rodney's jersey number 22 on their helmets this season in memory of the former Notre Dame running back. And Rodney and Karen Culver left behind two beautiful daughters. We'll tell you about them in just a moment as the give is to Freddie Bradley again. And as you look at Bradley, he might not be getting this chance had it not been for the tragedy that befell Rodney and Karen Culver. Their daughters, Brianna and Jada, left behind, and you can contribute to the Brianna and Jada Culver Trust account by sending your contribution to the Brianna and Jada Culver Trust account, care of Bank of America, P.O. Box 1631, San Diego, California, 92112. That's Bank of America, P.O. Box 1631, San Diego, California, 92112. Brianna and Jada Culver. John Salisbury on second down. Giving again to Freddie Bradley, getting a lot of work in these last couple of minutes. Glenn Montgomery, number 97, makes the stop for the Seahawks.
And you know what, Jim, and not to take away from the game here, but, you know, at a time like this, when so many times you see tragedies like that happen, and they happen to other people, this one kind of hits home for a lot of people in the NFL family and who watch NFL. Take a time to spend some time with your family and just remember what you have.
Thank you very much, Bob, and thanks to all of you for being with us as Bobby Ross's San Diego Chargers get started in this season of better character with a characteristic Charger victory. 29-7 over the Seattle Seahawks. It was a close game in the second quarter. 13-7 at halftime after John Carney's thrilling 53-yard field goal just before the half. And then the Chargers blew it open in the second half by finally cracking the Seattle offense and forcing turnovers.
And there you go. Force the turnovers. It's interceptions, the fumble by